And welcome back to ScavTalk, everyone. Today's episode of Drama Alerts, following up from last podcast episode, we're going to recap on the data mining drama that happened over the week. Get you all caught up to speed on that. With also some exciting news in regards to potentially Tarkov API and some ETS testing going on. Finally, just recently, we got some teasers from Streets and a wrap up of an event, I believe. Maybe that's still going. I'm not sure. So, Giga, how's it going?
It's going good. This week, I did my first duo stream in I don't even know how long. Such a long time. I was playing with Hayes.
Yeah.
We were actually playing during the event, which we'll get onto about what happened. Yeah, I was playing with him during that, which is kind of fun. Like, I haven't done a duo stream since I played with Geeks, and that was ages ago. That must have been like nearly a year ago now. Because then my internet was bad, and I had like ping fluctuations getting kicked, whatever. But Hayes is UK as well, so that's kind of no big deal. Plus, I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's just start doing some more of these because it's something that I just never ever do, and it could be kind of fun, and it's something a bit different, and we'll just try it. And I like Hayes; he's chill guy. We've had him on the podcast before.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be too mad if I suddenly shoot him in the head or if I don't know what callouts he's talking about. I was like, this is gonna be all right. So no, we had fun actually. It was pretty interesting. We ended up playing, and he said he was like, I haven't done this for ages. We played Factory all day. It was bizarre. I mean, I say all day for me is like 3.5 hours or whatever, which is my usual stream slot. But he was like, dude, I haven't played Factory for like hours on end for so long. And he was like, I don't do that many duos either. I do them like from time to time, depending on how long it's been since I've done my last one. But he was just like, yeah, I haven't played just Factory for hours. I don't even know. I don't even know when the last time I just like mained it because we were playing at night. I guess I was going to talk about the stuff first, but we may as well talk about the event because it's kind of naturally linked to this, and it's pretty quick.
You guys were playing Factory. Yeah, I was trying to figure out why did you guys duo and decide to go Factory? That seems like an odd.
Exactly.
To each their own, but
so the event was. There was a weird post that appeared on the Tarkov Twitter, which was like a TV with some kind of like cryptic stuff. I mean, it's got like the scratchy screen out of like the ring or whatever. I've just managed to blast my own stream with the volume from it from Twitter. But there's like cult markings and stuff. It basically just zooms in on a TV screen, and I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else. There's no text or anything. It's just like spooky times.
Spooky.
And that's it. So what happened in reality, in Tarkov, our reality, was cultists were spawning at 100% rate on the various maps that they normally spawn on. So customs and woods, and the times that they normally spawn at. So it wasn't like they were suddenly there in the day or anything, but customs around the construction-y kind of area, like fortress type bit, whatever you call that thing, the workshop. They were spawning there 100% of the time at night. Same for woods, same for shoreline, and same for factory. Now they're quite rare on night factory. But to push their spawn rate up to 100% means that they're always there. And everybody went in fully Chad geared up because if you wanted to go and kill the cultists, you knew that they were going to be there for sure and you could run into them straight away. And it's kind of the easiest way to clean up the event.
So do you still have to be in the time frame?
You do have to play night. Yeah.
But just
have to be in the right time frame. So factory doesn't matter because factory's got it doesn't have rotating time. So factory's easy on that. But yeah, you have to be in whatever the time frame is. I can't actually remember. It's until like 7 a.m. or something. I can't remember when it finishes normally.
Right.
But it's like 11 until 7 or something. I can't remember the exact timing. Maybe it's midnight till 7. So long as the raid begins then. Right, you can go into a really early morning raid and then go and fight them later in the day if you really wanted to. Because they do spawn at night time, but then they're still there if it like transitions into day throughout the game. But we were like, well, you have to kill 30 for the event. And the catch is you can't kill scavs. Can't kill any scavs. You have to kill cultists only, or PMCs, or bosses, but not scavs.
Wait, but the PMCs and bosses don't count towards the quest, right? No. You're telling me you fail the quest if you kill a scav?
Correct.
Huh.
So I got
just couple. Like resets you down to 0?
It fails it completely. You have to go and re-accept it.
Okay.
So I had a couple. I think I had 4 or something.
Mhm.
And then I shot a scav and I was like, damn it, like reset me. And Hayes was already on 11 or 12 at this point. And I was like, you know what? Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not going to make the 30. I'm not that bothered. I'd rather just like chat around and just, do the stuff. I'll be protection. I'll go and, if there's any scavs, I'll shoot them for you. I'll like boost you through the quest. And I think we got him to, it was nearly 20 or something out of the 30 that he had. But it was just good fun. Like Night Factory, I don't play very often. But I know the map intricately, so it's kind of better for me in some ways than some of the others. And playing with MVGs and going around with like the suppressed pistol, just like shooting out the lights. And it was kind of cool. There's like some fun PvP and everyone's there super geared. And the cultists are just weird though, right? They like lie down in weird corners and just lie there sometimes. Like we saw the cult priest guy and he was just lying there. And we were like, oh, neither of us can loot his body. Super weird. And then 30 seconds later, he like ran past. We were like, what? And someone in chat was like, yeah, that was him just like lying there. He was alive. Like you could have killed him, but he was just on the floor. We were like, well, that's mad. So the AI is a bit weird. But it was fun overall. It was good. And now the event has actually ended. It was relatively short-lived. I would say it was maybe 2 days. And now the event is gone. I presume it's the same. I didn't actually check. I presume it's the same as the other quests where you can still do it in theory. It's still there. But, now you have to go and find cultists manually with the normal spawn rates.
Naturally.
But the real kicker for the actual quest was the rewards. You were supposed to unlock both the AK and the M4 or like AR-15 under-barreled grenade launchers, as well as cash purchases for the GL, whatever. What would you call them? Shells or grenades or whatever it is, cartridges. And they were like 15k a shell and like 40k for the GL. So it was like really cheap if you could be bothered to do the quest. I did see that Axel posted. He was like, by far the easiest way is just to go in naked with a shotgun and just only kill the cultists and then just keep resetting over and over again on Night Factory. It's just like go with a torch or flashlight, whatever, and then go over and over again until you do it. Because we were going like super kitted, so we were kind of PvPing and trying not to die and stuff. He was just like, yeah, the easiest way to do this is just to kind of cheese it because you don't care about dying then. And if you run into a scav and it kills you, you're just like, yeah, whatever.
All right.
But it was fun. It was all right. It's probably my least favorite of the events that we've had so far. Like I don't like playing against the AI that much. Like I didn't die to the cultists particularly. I think I died once. It was mostly the PvP actually that was more difficult. So it ended up being okay. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of fighting against the AI. Like it's just the usual stuff. They seem really unfair sometimes and really stupid other times. Right? They're like lying in a corner next to a box and you just stand over the top of their head and shoot them in the back of the head. It's like, like it just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
But the PvP was cool, and the night thing was like, something a bit different. Go around with GPMVGs on factory. I haven't done that in ages, so overall, yeah, it was decent. So we'll get into the drama then, I suppose.
Yay! My favorite section, unironically.
Probably the biggest piece of news from the week. So this all started because of a post that it was a post that this is the first that most people saw of it. It was a post that Nikita put up on Twitter, and it just said, "It goes beyond all limits. What should I do with him?" And it was a screenshot of Logical's Discord with Logical saying, "If there is somebody that has ETS access and wants to stay anonymous and contribute to our efforts, DM me. I just want to find out if ETS is really on Unity 2021. And then to the rat in here reporting things to BSG and then the middle finger emoji. Which it's it's quite inflammatory in general.
Yeah.
And obviously Nikita's just like, what should I even do with him? So that, that launched a cascade of people being like, BSGL.
Hang him.
You're looking at the wrong stuff versus, Logical. My boy Logical done nothing wrong.
Free Logical.
Free Logical. I did actually read somebody. It was quite funny. They wrote like, Free Logical. Like I know he's not banned yet, but he's going to be banned. So free him for when that happens. It was like straight away somebody put that down, which I thought was pretty entertaining. So anyway, there was like a lot of people talking about stuff. People on both sides of the equation. A few people, including me, talking about like, why does ETS have an NDA? But we could probably get more into that in a little bit. So after all this kind of back and forth went on. BSG then posted an official statement with their kind of usual branding and whatever on Twitter. It's like a picture, but there's like official statement from BSG on illegal data mining of the information. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. It like defines data mining and what data miners do. And over the past few years, there's an increased amount of data mine information circling around on websites and on social media. Remind people about the TOS, like breaches of the license agreement, blah, blah, blah. And it basically just says, what's the difference between the leak and a teaser? And they basically were just saying, BSG posts stuff to try and hype people up. And that is voluntary marketing, basically. Whereas with data mining, it like spoils surprises and it can give an unfair advantage to people who don't do it or aren't keeping up to date with that or whatever. And it's all like outside of the game, etc., etc. Now, it's a complicated one, I think, partly because of BSG's like ongoing stance towards like data and information and what's available in the game or not, and the fact that the only reason why most people know what's going on in the game and half the stuff that's on the wiki is all data mined stuff anyway, which is about like the ballistics and the ammo and all of that kind of thing, which is what makes it really, really complicated. They did say specifically, if you're looking for specific information, there's an official resource supported by Battlestate Games Wikia, which may not be updated as frequently and in time, but it does not use any illegal tools. The Wiki is also a fully community-driven project. And it's always down to receive help from more experienced players to keep it up to date. So they basically were like, look, the Wiki is the trusted source. The Wiki team worked with BSG to decide on what is not okay. Fair enough. And anything else outside of that that's not on the Wiki is by default, I suppose, like not sanctioned by BSG. Which is fair, which is, it is what it is. After this, there was something happened on Logical's stream. I don't know exactly what, but he was talking about some piece of information. And he got banned by BSG.
Mm-hmm.
So then there was obviously a new Twitter post about I've been banned and I ain't done nothing wrong. Gov, let me out. And I think there was a bit of a tiff between Logical and Nikita privately where Nikita was like, you're still talking about data mine information. Like, this is why we banned you. And he was like, no, I didn't talk about anything like new. I haven't done anything since you put the policy in place. I haven't spread anything like new or anything like that. And he was like, no, you haven't. And he was like, it is actually old information that I was talking about. That's basically what Logical's argument was. So I think there was some private conversation. Nobody knows exactly what happened. And he got unbanned. Presumably because they put this policy in place. He didn't actually do anything wrong since the policy was put in place. So they couldn't really ban, like, sort of almost like banned him retrospectively for stuff he'd done in the past based on the policy they just put in, was kind of the thing. So they unbanned him on that point, I think. But it was a bit of it was a bit of a mess in general. And Logical put out his own statement, which was said, even though my intentions may not have been malicious, I understand and agree that I was in the wrong for the post that I made involving ETS. I shouldn't have done that. Thankful and glad that Nikita and BSG are potentially mending our relationship. Look forward to hopefully working with them. Big shout out to the community for the overwhelming support, basically, which is like, I think that's pretty fair. Like most people quite like the stuff that Logical puts out. I think asking for ETS information like publicly over his Discord to like at everyone was too much. And in my opinion, maybe this is a hot take, I don't know, but like for that post, maybe they came to some agreement in the background, that's fine. But for that post, I do think BSG probably were in their right to ban him, honestly. And they could have kept it if they wanted to, but they clearly didn't want to because he's a big member of the community, and if they can repair the relationship, then he can potentially do more good than harm going forward. So they don't want to make a permanent enemy of the guy.
You're saying
maybe that's why they unbanned him. I don't know.
You're saying BSG's in the right to ban him just based off the Discord posts? Like,
I think so.
From like a moral perspective, or
yeah, I think so because it shows. I don't know. It's quite bad will,
Yeah. I mean, because it's kind of one of those things like you don't really know what his intentions are, and you're trying to think of a good analogy. I can't think of one off the fly that's gonna be fit, but it's just kind of it's almost like me asking you to do something illegal on my behalf, and it kind of puts you in like an awkward spot.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like, yeah, lack of respect for the terms or whatever. I mean, I'm glad that he basically
Right.
said like, yeah, I was wrong to
Oh
put that
yeah.
out. So I'm glad he acknowledged that, honestly, because that was for me the worst part about it. But I mean, all of this has come about because of the way the BSG does stuff, right? And it's just so hard to figure out what's going on. And the line has always been very fuzzy as to like what's okay, what's not okay, and it's made. I mean, I know I felt nervous as a content creator talking about certain things, like certain stuff that I just don't refer to or have to be careful about, even if I see it, because it's like, well, I don't know, I don't want to get on the wrong side of what BSG's philosophy is on it. Whereas like someone like Logical is basically just kind of like just he's just kind of posted everything. I don't know whether he's held anything back, really. Because like somebody's probably always going to fill that hole, you would think. Even if he doesn't, somebody else will
There's
probably do it
definitely a demand
anonymously
for
or
it.
whatever.
I'll say that much.
Yeah. Now, the line that I draw on it is things like, you know, what's the rewards for the events
Mhm.
and like upcoming stuff, like if you could reverse engineer that airdrops are coming before they're in the game and stuff like that. That kind of thing, I'm actually not interested in seeing personally because
Right.
I'd rather have the surprise. So I'm actually on BSG's side for that. Um, it's the other stuff, things like yeah, spawn rates, spawn locations, like balancing stuff, like those kind of things. That's where I'm much more on the logical side because I feel like the player base needs that kind of information in order to test things properly and
Yeah.
to understand what the hell is going on half the time, right? Because certain bugs sit in the game for ages because people just don't know how they work and it's not public. So we can't just go, oh, here's how it's supposed to work, here's how it does work. There's a mismatch and report the bug. It's just like the mysterious game mechanic. You go, well, this like surely this isn't the way that it should be.
Yeah.
This is some weird thing, and then you have to report it, and then BSG just it either goes to the black hole of BSG or whatever. So
It's like, didn't they? No, that was actually something Logical messed up on. Actually, remember when he put like they nerfed the MCX, like they buffed some other guns, and then he had like a typo or he said, but now
yeah.
I'm getting confused. But no,
Mm.
I understand that, and it kind of puts people in like an awkward position where it kind of reminds me of like um like a Marvel movie or something. Like back, I guess back when like Infinity War was popular, people were like going into like Twitch chats and like message boards and like spoiling the story for people, like just being dicks about it, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of similar in that way, in that it's like it's like I want to be following Logical to keep up to date with like some of the news stuff that's like,
Mm.
as you said, it's not really like in that spoiler territory, it's more like on the informational territory. But at the same time, he's also going to put out at least he has on some things like spoilers for some stuff, like here's the rewards for this event or whatever.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes it kind of awkward for, because like it's kind of just like that idea of like like when I was playing Hyperlight Drifter, I like really didn't want to spoil aspects of the game, and it doesn't like explain a lot of the mechanics to you. You just kind of have to like
Right.
figure it out. But I could have easily just gone online and like spoiled it for myself to experience. So there's like a level of self control you need. But at the
Mm.
same time, if it's like, someone's coming into your Twitch chat and spamming, the the script to the movie you want to see, it's so I don't know. It's kind of a hard thing because, like I say, he's kind of like in that role where he does report the changes and set, like, I don't know. I guess maybe he thinks there's value in reporting what the stuff is. I mean, in a sense, it kind of is, because you may look at it and be like, oh, well, these rewards aren't worth it. I don't want to spend the time doing it.
Mm.
Um, so I don't know. It's kind of a tricky thing because, like I said, you really like, I kind of really want to follow him for the updates, but if it's going to spoil something major that I don't want to be spoiled, but I'm not aware of that I don't want it to be spoiled until I've seen the information, but I'm following because I want to see the updates. You know what I mean? That's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah. Exactly that. It's like I want to know that the VSS has had a 15% buff to its vertical
Yes.
recoil. I don't want to see the opening screen to the Lightkeeper like 3 days into the wipe.
Yes.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? There's like a difference there.
You know, it'd be
And I
a
don't
great
think he did
solution.
actually, but
I was gonna say, you know, be a great solution is BSG just put out patch notes with like details, because then I wouldn't have any need to follow logical. You know, he
well,
really
this is
wouldn't
the
even
thing.
have a. I mean, he would still have like a spot, I guess, but I just a lot less relevant spot. I feel like
Yeah, and they have been doing that more recently, which maybe
a
is the
bit
idea.
more.
I don't know, but there's still hidden stuff. You know, um, information that's not delivered to the player base and stuff. So I don't know. We'll have to see kind of how it goes from here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure. The one extra kind of like piece on top of this, which is the next part of the puzzle, I suppose, was where have I got it? It's up here. Yeah. So Nikita posted. This is when did Logical make this statement? This was on actually this is on the 26th. This is actually kind of like whilst the drama was ongoing. I think. So this was after Battle State's statement, but before Logical's statement. And Nikita posted literally six letters, EFT API on
Mm-hmm.
Twitter. That was it. That was all he said. And everyone was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." And Logical actually messaged on that and said, "I'll be the first to sign up, regardless if it's free or not. Count me in." And Nikita just posted, AOK hand symbol, and that was like right in the middle of all of the stuff.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. That'll be interesting to see what they do with that. I know that I had saved down Veritas's little post on it, which was like, "What's an API and what would it mean for EFT?" It would allow third-party apps to get information about the game directly from the BSG servers, maybe even allow things like collect insurance or stash management. In 2019, I shared some ideas with Nikita, hoping to help design the API. So yeah, rather than having to like pull, because I think a lot of people pull information from like various databases that have been made and created in general. Like I think
Yeah.
even Veritas does that. I mean, I can't remember where it comes from. Maybe it's the wiki backend or something. I'm not sure for like ballistics, but there's various databases, but none of them are like BSG official. But
Right.
I think some of them do, like the wiki ones. I think that automatically updates because again, it's like it's data mined, right? The game updates. They run the scraper. It pulls all the ballistics stuff out and updates the wiki, and then lots of people use that back end to do other stuff or other tables somewhere else. I don't know where, but lots of people do that kind of data mining to get that information. That's like sanctioned by BSG as being okay. Right? They've come to terms with people having the ballistics information these days because like they couldn't not, and they also posted their own spreadsheet a couple of weeks ago, didn't they? So
Mm-hmm.
they've kind of said like this is fine. This is completely fine, actually. It's like totally fine. The wiki uses a data mining technique to grab ballistics, and that's okay. But this would then mean this would be other stuff. This would be the other things that people are kind of grabbing from the game. Things like trader prices for stuff, resale values, maybe some of the underlying parameters for different items. Depends on what is available to the API. They might not make everything available. That's the thing. It depends on
Yeah.
whether it's only public facing stuff or not. Because there's things like it's like blunt damage modifiers for each piece of armor. Like that differs from armor to armor, but that's not publicly facing, for example. So whether the API would have that or not remains to be seen. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I think like Veritas is quite keen, even though he's really off Tarkov. He's like very keen because he's done a lot of API stuff in the past. So he's quite keen to like either help or be the guy, to help them to figure out how to do it. I think he even posted something. Oh yeah, he said it was actually on the direct thread itself. He said, "I spent most of my professional career designing APIs, most notably ones designed to be consumed by third parties with a focus on testability, extensibility, backwards compatibility. Feel free to reach out if you want any feedback, testing, or brainstorming." So, who knows? We shall see. But this would be good because this would be a new era of officiality for all of this stuff. Like, there's various websites out there, Tarkov.dev, Tarkov tools, Tarkov changes, Tarkov ballistics that do all sorts of different things kind of on their own or in tandem with some bits of stuff with BSG saying yes, that's fine, and some people saying no, that's not okay, and or there's just been nothing said, which is more usually the case. So I don't know. This would be good to have like an official source from BSG as to like what is actually available for these kind of like automated places because like it's very useful, like to have the crafting crafting guide stuff, or anything really. Like if you could grab insurance through, and I guess this is maybe connected to the app that they were going to build. I think I can't remember who was talking about that, but someone else was talking again recently about the mobile app that they were thinking about, so that you could get insurance or manage your hideout or something on the move. I don't know. We'll have to see. But anyway, the drama is now over. It seems they've made peace. Nikita / BSG and Logical, at least for the time being. I presume that he's going to be very quiet for a bit. I don't know what he's allowed to say or not allowed to say.
He did post an update with the event, with the Cultist event, but it was like,
what did he say for that?
I have to find it, but it was like,
oh, is this the one that just said like, here's the new quest?
Yeah, it was like after the BSG made their announcement, because sometimes he'll beat them to the punch. And it also just like, it was just the screenshot of the quest description and like what you would see in game. Like there wasn't any. It's like, hey, this is the event. That was kind of like, there's a new event. The task says do not harm scavs. It's that's it. And then it's a lot more watered down than what we typically get. So I don't know if that's going to be a new. I'm not sure what the future is going to look like going forward, because there is a lot of, as you kind of said a bit, this fear of, am I going to get banned for sharing information that's, not, I guess the rule of thumb now, if it's on the wiki, it's okay. So if you cite something, cite the wiki. Although I can't help but find the usage of illegal data mining in their official statement a bit funny. It's like, is that opposed to legal data mining? Like, you're telling me that the wiki does not use any illegal tools, so it totally legal, got all the ammo information, got the boss spawn rates, which I found really interesting. I think that's a new thing. But I noticed the cultists during the event, they were up to 100%, and then now they're back down to like their normal like 5 and I don't remember the boss spawn rates being on the wiki for the longest time. I thought that was interesting.
I think that might have something to do with maybe the agreement that they've come to, Logical and BSG, because I can't find it now, but in one of Logical's like various bits and pieces of like back and forth and the drama or whatever, BSG were talking about like the wiki being like the prime place and that's where everything should be put. And he was just like, I'm one of the biggest contributors to the wiki. He's like, you see there's like information all over the wiki. I've made like thousands of edits, and some of my edits don't get changed until I change them again like years later. He's just like, here's my user. It's all over the wiki. You look all over the place and my edits are there. Like, he's a huge contributor to the wiki. So I wonder whether he was like, okay, well, if we're not allowed, because I think they might have specifically said about boss spawn rates in the statement. I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It was mentioned somewhere anyway. So maybe he was just like, yeah, I'll put it on the wiki then, because like now it's official. It means it can be updated there and everyone knows. I'm not sure if it really matters that much. Like, it's nice to know broadly what the spawn rate is, but I don't think it matters. Like, it doesn't spoil anything per se. So I'm not really that fussed about boss spawn rates. I don't really mind. It's more about like locations, things like that. I think there was something that we didn't talk about last time, which was they'd like changed Killer's spawn rate a bit, so he wasn't able to be in the basement anymore. I think it was like one of the last things that Logical put out before all of this kicked off. So things like that are more useful in some ways. And I don't feel like my immersion is ruined knowing where these guys can spawn, It's just is what it is. Like, even the spawn rate chance, I'm just like, practically speaking, I'm still going to have to just run it a bunch of times to see these guys. So, I don't know. Yeah. It's an interesting one. We'll have to see.
Yeah. I don't know. Because I'm kind of curious how this went over for BSG, because there was also like another thread where what's his name, Jake Lucy guy on Twitter. He's like a esports journalist type of thing. He made a post like in between all this, I think prior to like Logical's apology, if you will. where he was like, tomorrow I got a really interesting story brewing with an interview in regards to Escape of Tarkov, and everyone was like, oh snap. And ultimately I think Logical ended up canceling it because it was supposed to be Logical, and I don't really remember the details as to why.
Yeah, I think
I guess because they made
he's
amends outside BSG and Logical. I'm not really too sure.
yeah, I think so. I think he realized. I think before when he was still banned, he was just kind of going like full bore, like anti BSG. You know, this is crazy. You know what the deal is, but yeah, because he said like huge story developing against Battle State for tomorrow in the Tarkov scene. Getting the interview done tomorrow, then let's cook. And he said, and then he said interview has been cancelled a little bit later, and somebody wrote clickbait. And Logical actually replied and said, it was not. I called off the interview.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of interesting. And that was on the 25th, I believe, the BSG statement was on the 23rd, and Logical's kind of apology thing was on the 26th.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere between that, they made friends again, and he was like, actually, no, I don't want to do this. You know, they fixed the situation. So
Yeah, I just wonder if, there was some like fear of like bad press that, kind of made BSG unban him. Because like, me personally, I think it's just inevitable they were gonna like ban him. Like they were gonna find something to ban him for, if not just outright ban him. And it's like they can do that. Like, there's no like real accountability there.
they can do whatever the hell they want, right? There's no
Exactly.
recourse. Exactly. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Take them to court and get them to reinstate your account? Like, no.
I guess you could try. I don't think you're gonna win, but nonetheless.
Please judge my level 56 character. Who are you? What are you here for?
You don't understand. I'm like one level away from max strength, please.
Yeah. Head one item for Kappa. Yeah, I don't think that holds up. I don't think anyone will give a damn.
Oh man. So yeah, I don't know. I just wonder how much bad publicity was maybe playing into it.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Can only speculate.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So one thing that was really interesting is kind of like a general follow-up to this whole event and
the drama event.
Yeah, the drama event, best Escape from Tarkov event so far. Yeah. My Google Chrome is going crazy. I've got like all these tabs up, and it's just like not enough memory to open this page. Why? Why? It's literally a few tabs on Twitter. Very strange. Well, I'm gonna have to go and find it again then, I guess. Oh, here it is. So yeah, so this whole drama started because of Logical asking for information about ETS, which did we talk about this? I mentioned it last time because someone asked in chat, didn't I, about ETS, like the early test server, it's the beta to the beta, the fact that, you have people testing on that, but it's under NDA, so people can't stream it, they can't make videos about it, they can't do YouTube about it, which really puts off a lot of content creators from actually going and doing anything in it because they're busy anyway. Like outside of gaming and then doing like, whatever other content that you need to do, like shorts or YouTube or long form or whatever it might be. It doesn't leave much time, to be honest, to go and test a game on your own solo and report bugs. Like it's not something most content creators are interested in doing. And this whole thing kicked off because Logical was trying to get information about ETS. But what was interesting then, after this, on the 27th, we actually got an official tweet from Escape from Tarkov saying for the past few months, there has been an ongoing testing of upcoming updates on the early test server. Currently testing patch 13.1 functionality is available. We invite all participants to join the testing and leave feedback on the Discord server, as well as in a special feedback form in the launcher. We thank all players who are actively involved in the testing of upcoming updates. Your participation and feedback allows us to quickly fix bugs discovered during testing and speeds up the release of updates for all of the players. Which I was amazed that they made that kind of statement. But I mean, it's better than nothing. I'm glad they said something, but
I think they've done this before.
For ETS, maybe.
Like said that they may have not said in detail. Well, maybe I'm confused. What are you amazed about specifically?
Yeah, just that they even said it, to be honest. But I think it's good because it's like it's almost like ETS is like it's one of those things that's almost never referred to.
Yeah.
It's like if you're part of the Fight Club, can't talk about Fight Club. If you're part of ETS, can't talk about ETS. BSG doesn't talk about ETS. Every now and then, someone's like, "You can apply through the launcher. Don't tell anyone. Don't talk about it. If you're rejected, don't tell anybody." Like no one. It's just like so under the radar the whole time. So I'm glad that they were just like, anyone who has it, go and test it. They probably looked at the number of people that are enrolled, and they were like, "Yeah, they've got
Well,
like 10% or 5% of the people who are actually using it to try and test the game." Like, come on, guys, let's go and go. If you've got access, go and give it a try and see what you feel, which is better.
I'm pretty sure it's only used like seasonally. So like, you know what I mean? It's not like I don't believe ETS is constantly running and constantly testing stuff. Like I
Yeah,
think
I
they
don't think it
open
always
it.
is.
I think they open it like when they want to specifically test something. So I guess in that regards, they probably use their biggest megaphone that they got, which is their Twitter.
Yeah,
I assume.
it is funny. Just like, isn't this the whole purpose of early access? And now we have early access before things go to early access. Like, there's a few tweets like that.
Access, yeah.
And somebody did say, like, "Oh, can you live stream this? Are there any rules changes? Because it's now over for everyone." And Apple, the community manager, was just like, "No, it is not over for everyone, and no, you cannot live stream it." But yeah, it's funny, really. I just don't know why there's an NDA for it. I think it's counterproductive. As far as I'm aware, I don't think any like content has ever been tested on there. So it's just like technical stuff and like bug fixing, as they said in their update. It's like quickly fixing bugs during testing and things. So I don't know. Like I just feel that they're cutting out a lot of the potential testers by making it this way. Like I don't think any other game dev does it like this. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe somebody does. But I think a lot of people just have like this kind of test version is open. It's like on the unstable,
Well,
like
yeah.
not released version.
When you typically pay for a test version, or you get it for free, right?
Mm.
Like early access.
Yeah,
So I mean, this is why I think they're like trying to use additional labor, like free labor in a sense. They probably do have some like internal testing from like a third party studio. I would imagine. I would hope so at least.
yeah,
But yeah, they're just going to use like a large part of the community that is willing to give up their time and test it, which I mean makes sense. And I suppose the NDA is there to protect them in some fashion or form. Oh my god, I just saw this article. There's this new feature. I'm gonna buy this game. It's not in there. What? I don't know. I can't really think of a good scenario other than they don't want, like, maybe they just want to avoid like bad press. So in case there's like something horribly broken or wrong or whatever, I don't have no idea. I can't really think of a good reason. I'm sure BSG
yeah,
has a reason. I'm just assuming it's there to protect them. BSG really like having their asses covered. Their
yeah. I
their
guess so.
their TOS is extremely like open ended. Like holy shit, do not.
Yeah, it's probably
It's
there
pretty.
just to stop. Oh, look at this on ETS on the top thread on Reddit. Like, oh, common BSGL hook W. Just to prevent that, I suppose.
That's my best guess.
Yeah. So fair enough, but I still disagree. I think that the upside outweighs the downside on it, but I'm not them. They're doing it the way they want to do it. That's
Right.
fine. I mean, so much stuff comes
This
to the
is
main branch that's completely busted, So it's
yeah.
like, does it work? I don't know. Like, something's not
Well,
working.
I mean, I'll say this: when we rumors has it that the ETS, because I think the ETS came up prior to 12.12, and someone told me, rumor that the inertia system before it was like came out in 12.12 was like 10 times worse than what we got in 12.12. So, could you imagine if that was like on the front
You
page
think
of
this is bad? You should have seen it on EDS, that
well,
kind of
like
thing.
this is the thing, right? Imagine the thread comes out on Reddit. It's like, oh my god, they wanted this is inertia. This is what they want to do. The game's gonna die. Like everyone's like having a nuclear meltdown. You know, I don't know. I that's the only logical thing I think of is they just want to kind of save face maybe or protect them.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. I still disagree, but yeah, it's interesting that they've basically said to go and test. So if anybody does have ETS, go and test the stuff. Just try things randomly and send the feedback to BSG direct using the usual channel. You just file a normal bug report the way that you would for the main branch of the game, I believe. There is a Discord for it too, for talking like more in detail about some stuff. But
I'm gonna have to report you to the ETS police. You talked about it.
this is SWAT teams coming, down on the ropes. Oh man. But yeah, so we will see. And now some people have been reading into that being like, oh, if the testing on ETS, it must be close. Like, wipe soon, wipes on the 1st of July. Yeah, PvP. Lots of people really like the PvP thing. The 1st of July, like 701 price on the PvP ammo that we talked about last time. Loads of people came into chat and were just like, dude, I love that. I love that.
I love it too. Yeah, I hope it's
that concept. That's super funny. That would be what is that tomorrow? What kind of month are we in? Yeah, that would be tomorrow, which is like obviously not going to happen.
I mean, Giga, never give up hope. Never stop huffing
hope.
copium, dude. Hopium, copium, double dosage.
For those 1st of July enjoyers out there, that's like full on. That's like industrial grade copium. That's like unfit for human consumption levels.
Yeah.
So the other piece of Tarkov news that we had was yesterday. We had last night. There was some more streets pictures that have been released. There's one which looks like a security control room or something. And then there's the actual like Terror Group headquarters building, which is kind of cool. And then there's like a kitchen. I think it looks like maybe it's in Pinewood Hotel because there's the Pinewood Hotel front dining hall section. Now I can't remember. I haven't gone and cross-referenced the whole of this thing because there's a sort of lobby on Pinewood. I'm not sure if this is an extension there or if this is somewhere else because Pinewood is kind of complete, if you know what I mean, and surrounded by other things. So I don't know exactly where that would be. Like maybe it's an extension to Pinewood itself. Because I know like when you go in from, if you think of where Klimov Street is, the bit where the snipers are and you have to shoot the green tracer thing up.
Right.
Not tracer, but flare. If you go in the hotel through that little entrance off the side street there, you can either go, there's a reception desk and you can either go upstairs.
Right.
Or you can go down a set of stairs there. And down there, it's actually like closed. So there's 2 doors, but you can't get in. So I wonder whether they're extending it underneath there or something. It could be something else there. Like I can't really fit where that Pinewood Hotel bit is in the map, but apparently some people have been speculating that that's maybe linked to the Terror Group building in some sense because there's quite a lot of like Terror Group. I think there's what would you even call them? Kind of those fabric frames with the Terror Group logo on and stuff around Pinewood. But it's like it's not necessarily really near where the expansion's going to be. The expansion's over the road, like from Pinewood over the road through Post Office all the way to the side and on that side, I think. But maybe we'll be surprised. Maybe it'll be another bit across Klimov Street or something. I'm not sure. But I think I know Nice Guy was speculating about the very first screenshot, which is the security room one. I don't know. I haven't actually zoomed into it all the way myself. I don't know whether it says Terror Group or anything. You can't really read the screens, not in enough detail. There was some speculation there's a door on the far right side that could be one of the entrances into labs, maybe from the Terror Group building, perhaps something along those lines. I'm not really sure. I mean, it's all speculation right now. There's like a few places that the Terror Group's labs could be because we know the parking garages have got that kind of like sloping automatic gate style opening entrances, so it could be kind of anywhere like that on streets. We're not really sure, but this looks like very sort of Terror Group security roomy. And now that we've got this Terror Group building, it says Terror Group above it, and in the front as well, it's kind of got this sort of banner down on the street level. We're just gonna have to see what that ends up being. Could be kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know. It was only 4 pictures this time. Like sometimes they post loads. but this time it was only 4. So yeah, they keep teasing the expansion, but I mean we're not expecting to get that until patch 14, according to the roadmap. Which Nice Guy's video, he was like, oh yeah, maybe they've been teasing this stuff and like maybe it's close, and they've been working on some of this stuff like the army hitboxes, so maybe we get 13.1 and then we get a quick wipe into full patch 14. I really don't think so personally. I think like even with that, even if they were working on some of this stuff for a while, I just think there's too much to not be like the Christmas patch at least. But yeah, don't know. Read into that what you will. Basically.
I just hope my by the time the new Street Expansion comes out, they got performance improved or my 5800 X3Ds on sale for like $250. I'll buy it then. It's been going on sale, but I'm still like, it could go a little lower.
Yeah, holding out.
Yeah.
Well, now the 7000 series are out, and you're like, yeah,
it doesn't really make sense because I think from what I saw, the 5800 X3D versus like the 7800, whatever the newest one is, it's like pretty much the same, like a slight differences in certain games, but nothing like that massive, which I thought was pretty interesting, if I recall. But there might be some like more variant differences depending on how the RAM is utilized because the freaking DDR5 or whatever it is. But it's just like so much more expensive.
Yeah,
you have to buy a new
marginal
motherboard.
Improvement. Yeah.
Which is like the great thing about this platform. I mean, I've had this platform for so long now. I can't even think about it. I think I've been through like, I think I skipped the first gen. Anyways, going on hardware rants.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. But I mean, that is what we're supposed to get with 13.1, and I hope that it does all end up working out and that it's all looking good and that kind of stuff. Because we're supposed to get a noticeable increase in FPS. Like I think the culling system is going to make a big difference once we're not rendering all sorts of stuff all over the map and you're inside a building and it culls the other locations. Nikita teased that in the last Tarkov TV anyway and showed us their kind of AI generated. I mean, it's not necessarily even AI, but just computer generated culling based on where you're stood. Like it calculates, okay, what should you see, what can't, what shouldn't you be able to see, and we'll cull based on that. So we'll see. I mean, there's almost certainly going to be some glitches with it when it comes through. They'll have to tweak. Like if you're doing certain things, and if you're standing on a table and you go prone and then you lean and you're leaning through a window and then it's, you can see through half the map and stuff. I'm sure that will be, things like that will need to be tweaked for sure. But it should be good, optimizing RAM consumption and the rendering system, noticeable increase in FPS on online raids with the culling and improved hit rate and like a desync and more players and bots. Yeah, I'm hopeful that we'll be able to just get better performance out of what we have already. Like it's just so weird, it's like right now my PC, because it's under a lot of strain doing all the streams at once, and I get this like weird error sometimes. I actually turned my textures down to low as well the other day just to see if it would help, and it does actually seem to help a bit. But what's weird is that I'm playing Streets and Lighthouse and it's like struggling and scraping along, and then I play any other map and it just flies.
Yeah,
that's the weird thing. It's like I almost want like textures and graphic settings based on the map that I'm playing. I can play customs, woods, shoreline, all these other maps. I can play them with quite high settings and be streaming all on one computer, and it's all completely fine, never any problems. But Lighthouse and Streets, because of I think it's the VRAM thing, it's just kind of problematic. You need to like turn everything to low. You have MIP streaming on maximum. It's like, and then it's like then there's no glitches. But yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm looking forward to when all of this stuff comes through properly. I can retest it all, and hopefully it'll be much better. Surely it won't be worse. Surely. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I mean that like Taki stuff, I think that's kind of it really. I've been going back and forth between doing a few different bits and pieces. On the last stream on Thursday, I was checking out the Czech 15 building again because it's just somewhere that I've never really been. Like I still need to do a bit more on Streets. I did a load on there at one point because I had a 18 survive weekly at one stage, so I played a ton. But I ended up playing a lot around Pinewood, around Lexos, Concordia, and the sort of factory area I'm not as sure about, and I kind of stayed away because I need to survive. So I kind of stayed away from Check 15 because it's like such a PvP hotspot. Because the Check 15 room is, or it used to be crazy. Apparently, it's not that good anymore. It's like still 5 mil for a key, but it's been nerfed a couple of times. So it's not that great. You can still go in and do like the iron gate or whatever, but like you don't really need the keys. You can just wander through the building, loot everything, and leave, and you still have a full backpack of like 15 to 20k plus slot items, and it's pretty nuts. But like I hardly met anybody. I went to Check 15 3 times, I think, and the very final time there were 2 guys just like waiting outside who killed me, and they were like seemed to be the only other PMCs on the map. I didn't hear any other shots, so it's pretty empty streets right now. So if you want to learn some streets, now seems to be the time. And I definitely wanted to improve on it a little bit before the next wipe. That's kind of like what I'm doing now, is just going to areas of areas that make me uncomfortable and doing things that I'm not so happy about, and like learning those areas now. So I feel pretty happy with it. Like Check 15 is actually a lot easier than I thought it was. I'd been through it a few times, and I was like, oh, let's just solidify the knowledge. And it turned out that basically I knew the whole building anyway. Really, there was just like a few little things to tie up here and there that I needed to remember, and other than that, it was pretty good. So we like moved on to doing other things.
I was just looking because I gotta be honest, I don't think I've ever used that key.
Yeah, I've never used it. I've never actually used it myself because I never had it, and I never bothered paying because it was like super expensive at one point. It was like 15k or sorry, 15 mil or something stupid. I can't remember. But it was supposed to have like COFDM radios in it and stuff. So it was like quest items as well as being good loot, which I think is why people liked it. But you can find them in other places too. It's not just in the room. They're all over the place. Yeah. And the rest of it is just like, going off to try and kill bloodhounds and things, because those quests are still active and they're quite fun to fight against. I got absolutely grilled by them over by village. We were like, oh yeah, this spawned by village too. And I was like, oh, let's go and see. So like toddle over in the middle of the open, just like M6'd from like 3 different angles and just laser beamed. I was like, okay, that was the wrong approach. Well, never mind. I think like, you have to kill 30, and now it doesn't reset, but I think I'm only at 10 or something still, because it takes forever to find them. It's like a slow burn now, rather than hit it every raid and try to get 30 without dying, which basically nobody could do. So yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. If the wipe goes for another month, it's going to be pretty dry, honestly, at this point, unless the events really start stacking up. Like the cult event is finished and there's nothing to replace it so far. And then maybe there'll be something this weekend. I mean, as I said in the video that I posted, I'm still expecting Chronicles of Rigi at some point, because I don't think we're finished with that. So yeah, it could be another couple of weeks, and then who knows, right? End of July, early August, kind of up in the air. But yeah, next couple of weeks is going to be a bit dry, I think. Like lots of people will continue to be playing other stuff, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm fine. Take as much time as you need, but also don't take as much time as you need. But seriously, like I've like waited 4 months, maybe. I can wait another 2, 3.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be, not a hot mess. Like the last patch really like put a bad taste in my mouth for Tarkov as a whole. So I would much rather it be, polished, or even if there's not any new content, it would be nice to sort of re-experience streets in a, somewhat optimal setting.
Yeah, I agree. And we want it to be good. We want it to be done right. Like at least this time, like the audio is done for all the maps now. They did that progressively through the wipe. It took them like 3 freaking months to finish the audio through. It's like halfway through the wipe before everything was even fixed. Like the invisible players at the start was terrible. Like they just need to make 13.1 as watertight as they can for this next patch. And then we'll see. So I just hope it's take as much time as they need, and I hope that it is looking nice and is nice and shiny. Gonna have like new Unity to deal with, so that's probably gonna have its own problems.
Yeah, like in fairness, it's probably not gonna be all that great, considering that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I mean, I can kind of understand the audio stuff, because you're putting in a completely new system, and then there's like subsystems associated with that, and it's not like it's a live service early access game, so it's kind of like I can kind of understand that, but I don't know, the streets thing really. I guess it's because it was such a this is the pinnacle, the Pope meme. It's like Streets of Tarkov, and was not. I didn't think it kind of lived up to all the hype, but
it's just because of all the issues on top of each other, and the fact that they were like, oh, it's going to be no worse than the other maps when it releases, and it was like, that may be true for some people that it works for. Like for me, I upgraded specifically to the X3D because I knew Streets was going to be a mess, and it was like, it's no worse than like Lighthouse, let's say, which is the worst performing of all the other maps. But it causes other issues for people. Like some people can't play. Like it puts extra stress because like there's more VRAM required than other maps. It's like there's a lot of other things that make it actually worse, even though they said it wasn't going to be. And then that on top of the invisible players and all of the networking stuff, plus the audio being super screwed right at the start. Like it was too much. And then obviously the cheating thing. Like this wipe has just been, it's just been a mess. This wipe's just been a mess. So it'd be nice to start afresh, even if we have some technical issues with Unity. If I remember correctly, I don't think it was that bad last time, the upgrade. Like there was some bugs at the beginning, but I think they got fixed fairly quickly because it's a transition really, right? They know what they want to do. They're just ironing out anything that doesn't work on the new Unity version just so that it's the same as it was. It's not like they're doing anything brand new. They're just like fixing anything that breaks while they move over. So hopefully it'll be better, and then we can start from that base and then fix the stuff for 13.1, any of the other desync things. And I hope that it doesn't just come out. There's still a load of problems. FPS is still low on Streets, but now it's like things are flickering in and out as well. The desync's still bad, but in different ways. I just hope it's not like that. I really do. All we can do is hope. Like we don't know what they're actually up to. Like I'm not an expert. I wouldn't even know if they told me, to be honest, how they're doing it. So we just gotta hope and try it and wait and see. Yup. So in the meanwhile, we have two interesting things. One, the mass exodus of Tarkov players over onto BattleBit. And two, the mass exodus of players out of the cycle. Which is a very, very sad day.
Mass, that's kind of generous, Giga. Come on. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that was a low blow. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All three players of the cycle have now got nothing to play.
I'm sorry.
I know, that's mean. That's mean. But it's a sad day. The cycle is shutting down for good. They announced this yesterday? Or was it the day before?
One or the other.
Yeah, it was recent anyway. And yeah, it's sad. I mean, they announced no wipes. And then I guess the game died. When did that happen? You were playing the cycle recently, like way more recently than me.
Yeah, you're pretty much right. They did the new season. With that season, they said, we're going to, do no wipes. We think this is the right move. They gave some, blah, blah, blah. And then, as you said, they just recently announced that they're closing shop, which I don't know. I mean, I have some opinions on it all, but it's just, it is sad to see it go. And I feel for the people that worked on it and, they were really trying to do something.
Yeah.
I mean, like, to me, it's actually kind of surprising because they seem to be really confident in their stance on like doing a no wipes thing. So I was kind of surprised, but I'm guessing that there was just not enough return on the project as a whole, because that's how they made all their money, was through microtransactions. And interesting enough, they were not cheap microtransactions. I mean, I bought one for I'm pretty sure it's all cosmetic. There is yeah, exactly. I think there is technically a starter pack you can buy, which is effectively like EOD, and there was some controversy over that because they said they weren't going to do any like in-game advantages. It's going to be only cosmetics, and then the game launches, and then they have like these like bonus packages you can buy, and sort of like, well, actually, I don't know. That was that definitely rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
How did that function exactly? Because I know like there was a premium currency, Aurum. Was that what you used to pay for and then use that to buy other stuff, or like how did that work?
You could buy like DLC with straight cash, but you could also buy their premium currency.
Okay.
You could also get it passively through the hideout in very small amounts, but you could do it like that. It's I mean, I hate to say, but it's kind of like very mobile gamey. Yeah.
Well, like monetization.
Yeah, monetization. Yeah, thank you. Where's the? How do I buy something? I went to. Oh, maybe they took. Oh, they probably took off all their. Yeah, I think they took
Probably
off
at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite interesting. Like, you look back at the history, and it's funny. You know, my only takeaway really from the whole thing was just, you know, you can start off with so much hype and have a bunch of people playing it and blah blah blah, but you know, you need to have something there to continue, that people want to continue playing it for whatever reason. Like, it needs to have a compelling gameplay loop of some description, which, like, Tarkov for better or worse does, maybe artificially, because it extends the amount of time that it is required to actually get to the end game content by such a long time because of the quests and stuff. But you know, whatever it is, it seems to work, and there's enough depth. Like, the number of systems in EFT is just insane. But you know, Tarkov started off with like 50k, 40k, 25k people when it was all hyping up, and then it had, you know, 10,000 players concurrent, which is like fine for a long time. But then after that, like into the end of the year, kind of went like 4, 2, 2.5, that kind of thing. They've launched the new season. It went up to like 8 or 9, and then like quickly dropped off again to, you know, 2,000 people concurrent, which I guess is just like not enough. And yeah, and you look at like the last month or something, and it's like, you know, the game peaks at 2.5k.
That's you.
Excuse me. Peaks at 2.5k and drops down to about 1,500 on the off-peak times. And obviously, clearly, since they made the announcement, right, there's like a lot of people have stopped playing. It's, you know, people are still playing like the 2,000 peak and 1,000 off, but yeah, it's coming down at this point. I mean, it's sad, to be honest, and I think that they had some interesting ideas especially when it came to persistent open servers and stuff, and like the speed of getting in and out of raids. That was pretty good, but maybe it's partly something about the universe as well. People don't necessarily feel as attached to like sci-fi guns. Like, the modding system was pretty rudimentary. The leveling up of equipment system was kind of interesting, the way they had to do it, but again, it felt a bit like, you know, Fortnite / Apex / you know, standard like white, green, purple, blue, whatever order it was of rarity. Doesn't necessarily feel. I think that's the one thing about Tarkov. Like, you know, you feel like your loadout really is, you know, you're like, oh, this is like my loadout. You know, I've like made it. It's made up of so many different elements. It's like, what gun, what ammo, what mag, what attachments, then what, you know, what helmet, what armor, what rig.
Right.
Like, how much space do you want? The bag you have. What's in your secure container? Like, how much of each thing are you going to take? You know, phase covers, like earphones. It's like so much. So each person is kind of a unique individual.
Yeah, there's also like a little bit of sense of pride too, like with even with like the clothing options, because you don't buy those, you have to like, they're like achievements, you know, like, oh, I got enough rubles, reached level 43, I now have the blue jeans, look how cool I am.
Yeah. So that's kind of the thing we've talked about before. People will grind for, you know, the cool clothing in game, even though it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like, you only normally see it when someone's killed you.
It's not for your satisfaction. It is, but you want other people to see it. That way you can get satisfaction. I mean, I'm being a little facetious, of course, but
yeah, it's kind of true though. Kind of true.
Yeah, it can. But
yeah, I mean, like, the cycle never really. It just didn't capture my attention enough. And I know you came back to it, but then stopped. Like, how long were you playing it again? When you came back in a decent book, did you play because season 2 dropped? Was that why you came back to remind me?
I mean, I kind of just played because it was, yeah, I mean, the season was happening, you know, I really wasn't playing anything else. One of my buddies was, you know, wanting me to, like, he's a big Cycle fan. He wanted me to get into it. It's like, okay, you know, it seems like a good thing to try. They were, you know, doing some new stuff. I guess it's technically season 3. Is that what you're asking about? Or you're asking about season 2? Because I think I might have played a few other. Maybe I played a little bit of launch, like when they launched, but it just didn't really click. But I mean, the season 3 was kind of interesting because they had a new boss that was like the Howler. It was like a giant moth-like creature to fly around. It had like sonar. You had to like avoid detection, and if it found you, it like chased you down. You had to It was actually pretty cool. It was pretty cool. But
That's cool.
yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, I played it for like what, 2 months maybe, and
Yeah.
then
It's
like
all
I
right.
made it to like the later quest. But by that time, I just no, actually, that's not right. Because what? Oh yeah, I probably played it for like a month and a half, maybe less than a half. Because the
Mm.
first month they lock their in-game map out. I'm pretty sure Tharis
Okay.
Island, and that's where like you can do the really cool stuff where you take rare loot in and you mix it with your gear and it
Oh,
crafts
that
like
anvil thing.
ultra legendary with like random rolls, like faster reloading or
Mm.
some pretty. I mean, it's pretty cool ideas, but it never really. I hated the map because it's like hyper claustrophobic and um I mean it's dark. See, like you gotta like constantly play the flashlight metagame. It's like, do I have that flashlight off? Then they can't see me, but I also can't see where I'm going. It's just I don't
Yeah.
know. And the thing that probably rubbed me the worst about the game is the progression didn't feel good. Like you progressed up and like everything became like significantly more expensive, but like your power level kind of like varied depending on if you're fighting other players. If you're doing PvP, it really wasn't all that great. Like you're paying like 10 times more for like a 1% increase in
Yeah.
power. Like it really was that crazy. And kind of the meta that formed was people were running around with like white or like green armor, and then there's these new in quotation marks. There's this new idea where they take the like starter gear, and it's called like Mark II. Like you have like the starter SMG, but then there's a Mark II variant, which is green tier, and like it can't be modded as much of like the damage and ammo and converter mods, but it's like has like better stats, base stats. And I
Right.
guess because of the math how it worked out, it was like pretty like almost like top 5 DPS weapons for whatever reason, right? And you could only find those in raid, which was interesting, but like you could also get them on like your scav. They didn't call it scav, but you got like free loadouts. Like so the
Mm.
meta pretty much revolved around like using the lowest tier gear or like this like slightly or not slightly better, but like pretty substantial thing, but like no one really wanted to run armor and stuff because then like it was like super expensive to like make or craft, and then you had to repair it if you did survive. And like as I said,
Yeah.
you're paying like 10 times more for like 1%. Like congrats, you stopped one extra bullet from this guy's tier 1 gun. Like it just felt really bad for PvP. PvE felt pretty good because you would like it kind of made like I don't know if it economically made sense, but like you would use you could use 1,000 rounds of like the cheapest ammo, or you could use 10 rounds of the most expensive ammo. I mean, I'd have to like actually do the math and see how it adds up, but
Yeah.
it felt okay, right? Like I'm
And it's way faster. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. It's like okay, I'm paying a lot more, but this is like way faster, so it kind of helps with like not being there, you know, 30 minutes trying to kill a boss or a monster for a quest. So like it kind of made sense, right? So on that merits alone, it just made PvP feel kind of bad in general.
Mm.
Because then, like, if the meta is everyone's using crap gear, then it doesn't really make the PvP that rewarding. Because it's like occasionally you would find, and this is the other thing is like the people that were using the good gear, they were like just either like cheating or gods at the game, and it's it's just I don't know. I liked certain aspects of it, but for me that was like just a big turnoff is the Because even then, when you kill them and you go to loot them, you can't really take out their gear. Like, you could take out their gun and your secondary, right? But like their helmet
Yeah.
and armor, even if it was really good stuff, it was like too heavy to take. You know, kind of had the same like Tarkov problem in the sense.
Mm.
But you could ditch yours and wear theirs. But like, if theirs is broken, then that's gonna feel really bad. And then you have to factor in, well, I have to repair it, and that's gonna be really expensive to repair. So like, a lot of times it just ended up being better to take, whatever loose items they had. It's just, I don't know. It was, I mean, a lot of these problems do sound similar to Tarkov, but I feel like it was just exasperated in that sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like some of the same issues, but then like really amped up.
Yeah, and the thing, I think the general thing for me was, this is like super watered down Tarkov, and I don't know if there's anything really new here to really experience. Like, the quests are just as vanilla and boring as Tarkov.
Mm.
Kill this guy with this gun from this distance, plant this thing here, get this quest. Like, I mean, it's not like some like revolutional storytelling or something. It's
Yeah.
pretty basic, like very, very simple stuff. And gameplay wise, I mean, it's still the same. It's the same thing. You loot shit, shoot shit, extract. I mean, the one thing that was really cool was the whole, as you mentioned, the with the like live raids. That part I really liked, but it's kind of hard to say what really did the cycle in, because a lot of people were saying the cheating was a big problem, and I mean, it was, apparently. I don't think I was playing when it was, but they I think they did a really fantastic job of cleaning up the cheating when I played in the latest
Yeah.
season, because I remember getting cheated a couple times, but we got our stuff back through the insurance system they had, and I was like, I mean, it sucks, but at least it could be a lot worse. You know what I mean? Like, I got my stuff back,
Yeah.
so we kind of feel okay about that.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember like the original thing was like, oh, there's a bunch of cheaters, and then they
Right.
cracked down on it really hard and like basically fixed the problem. And I don't know whether that was also just because the player base was a lot lower as well. So it's like, well, cheaters are thinking, what's the point? I'll play EFT instead. There's more money to be made. And but then they had like a new season or whatever, and then there was a resurgence, because that was the thing. Like that was the narrative for a while about the cycle. It's like, oh, the cycle
Right.
have fixed the cheating problem. They fixed it. It's like, well, that's because they just don't have enough players. Like maybe that's the reason. But it seemed to have come back with a vengeance. Like I mean, this is purely anecdotal and just from reading what I've seen around on the internet. Lots of people talking about, cheaters coming back and there being a really big problem in the end, and them not ending up being able to deal with it, and blah blah. Like even though they had this return system that we don't have in EFT, it's like one of the other really good things to come from the game. I think that other devs could take and use, which is nice. But it does seem to be whenever any of these games get above a certain player threshold, then it's just like the cheaters come back in force, and it's a very hard problem to solve. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can only speak from my personal experience. I only felt like I got cheated on 100% like a handful of times, and I would say like 80 to 90% of the time I got all my stuff back.
Mm.
So, and again, that's like the ones I'm like, okay, these guys are definitely cheating. So I can't really. I feel like I have a different experience, but my thing is, I really don't think this is the interesting thing too, is because you take a game like Valorant, where they essentially marketed, their whole marketing strategy had a lot to do with like cheating.
Yeah.
There's some other stuff, of course, but the anti-cheating, and I think that paid off really well for them, because they executed pretty well on it, I would say. And
Mm.
whereas the cycle, they really did, they had to like retroactively do that. You know what I mean? Like, if I wonder how that would look if they did, if things panned out differently for them. But I don't really put a lot of weight into cheating. Like, maybe this is just, maybe I'm being too controversial here, but I just feel like gameplay outweighs cheating, because you're gonna mean, there's certain. I guess it's probably like degrees of that, but if your game's not fun, I'm not gonna play it regardless, and they're probably not gonna cheat in it regardless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it kind of like supersedes that the game needs to be fun for there to be cheating. I would imagine. I don't know. Maybe I'm dead wrong about that, but I'd rather play a fun game with cheaters than play a boring game with no cheaters. That's just me though, because I feel like
Yes.
you're gonna cheating is just like a fact of life, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I guess that's what it came down to with the cycle for me, was just the quest seemed kind of uninspired. Like I don't know, because even in Tarkov, I know we complain about the quest, but that's mainly because we've done them a billion times, and they're kind of like, go on the wiki pixel hunt type of quests. But some of the ones that you do early on that stick in your mind, things like delivery from the past. You get that really early. You have to go to customs, get the door, get the package, go to factory, plant the thing, and then extract or whatever. Like that comes really early in the quest progression, and it's like nerve-wracking as hell. It's like it's pretty good quest design and delivery from the past. Whereas like I found the cycle ones just like, go and get these 5 materials, go and kill these 5 of this critter, and
yeah,
blah, blah, blah. And they were all kind of like that. It was just not that
that's true.
interesting, and yeah, I don't know. I just didn't feel compelled necessarily to play and to keep going with it. Really, it's just like, oh yeah, you can get the better guns, but again, they're not that much better. Whereas in Tarkov, there's that thing of you start playing the game, you're like, how would I ever afford a thick items case? How do these items even exist in the game? And that was a bit more so when the flea market was in full force, because you could see them listed up there at like 20 million rubles or something. You'd be like, how in God's name has anybody got 20 million rubles in this game? Like, this is crazy. And there was that like that level of awe of like being stood at the foot of the mountain looking up, just like, good lord, this mountain is tall, but I'm going to climb to the top, I swear. And whereas I just didn't get that same feeling with the cycle. Kind of, I don't know, like I sort of could see the progression that you needed to go through, like, oh, kill this thing and get this stuff and then build this thing with the crafting, and it's like, I don't know. It just didn't quite capture my attention.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same. I think it was very like, it's like I've seen all this before, but this is like the most watered down version of what I've already seen. You know what I mean?
A bit,
this is
yeah.
like the baby food. Like previously, I was like chewing on steak, and now you're trying to give me like grounded up, mushed, liquefied steak. It's like, I mean, this tastes really familiar, and like, yeah, it's still steak, but there's not as much to chew on as there was previously. I think for me, that's really the thing, is like the game's just kind of like super simple when you have like Tarkov around, you know?
I think so, yeah. I mean, there was some other
It's like
frustrating stuff as well, but
I don't really play Tarkov for the quest, you know?
no.
I mean, I do them, but as it ends to a means, it's really everything like surrounding that, the gameplay, the healing system, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So when you kind of strip all that down and make it really basic, and I really think that's, in my opinion, they played it too safe. Like they kind of just like, let's, maybe they thought it was gonna be just the extraction genre was enough to carry. I'm not sure, but
yeah, I don't know. I mean, there were some things that were really good about it, like, but even about the feel, because a lot of people have said they didn't really like the sci-fi thing, and that's fair enough. I mean, the weapons, it is hard to make people buy into the non-real guns, because people kind of know what to expect from real weaponry. Whereas in sci-fi, it's just like, oh, this one does that and this one does this. You just
right.
have to kind of like relearn it. It's like, it may as well be magic spells. It doesn't really, you don't really have any kind of understanding of what those things actually do, or whatever. You just have to kind of use them. So it all feels a bit arbitrary. It could really be anything. But I did enjoy the way that you'd be going around the map. You'd see people just like podding in, just like coming in, and you'd know broadly where somebody had landed. I did find the extraction mechanism quite annoying. I wish there'd been a few different ways of extracting. Maybe some with like a really long time, but like a slightly lower risk or whatever. Because like extract camping feels pretty bad in Tarkov, but it doesn't happen that much. Whereas I felt that I got killed at extract a lot when I played the cycle, just because everybody sees the big thing coming in. It's just, and if you're playing on your own, And then you have a team of 3 who just like runs in the last minute and just like murders you in the extract. It was like really irritating. I found that, I don't know whether that got better because I didn't play after the first sort of bit, but I found that really annoying.
Yeah. I mean, what if it wasn't a team of 3, it was just one person? You still feel the same?
It felt a bit better because at least you had a fighting chance, you know? Because
Right.
you're like, okay, well, I can maybe fight them off. Or like most of the time against one, you could normally like duck around the craft and
Right,
like
right.
block their line of sight, and then you just like make it out just by the skin of your teeth. So you're like,
Yeah.
oh, it just about made it out. But with 3, so they're just like looking in. There's not enough cover, and it's just like you move one side, the guy shoots you. You move the other side, and the guy shoots you. They just sit there behind their rocks, and they don't even have to move. One of
Yeah.
them can see you, and you just inevitably die. And I was like, man, this is just like this is rubbish. And there's no other way to get out other than just be like, hello, I'm leaving the map. Hey, I'm leaving. It's over here, right here. You know, here I am. I'm full of loot, boys. You know, it's like the only way to do it. I was like, like I wish there was some other way. Because like there's usually ways on Tarkov to do that too, right? You can like sneak out or use a different exit, or you know, there's other ways. You know, you can wait until the coast is clear and go. Like extracting in Tarkov is silent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just different. And
Well,
it's
it's
like
interesting because it's a different type of tension. Like when you're extracting in Tarkov, you're like in fear that someone's camping the extract.
yeah,
Whereas this is like, okay, I'm extracting now. I'm in fear that someone's coming towards me, which I personally quite like. I mean, the scenario you played out, yeah, that really sucks. And I guess the way they addressed that is they did group-based matchmaking. If you're solo, you're in solos. If you're in duos,
yeah, which made it a bit better.
Yeah.
But it just always seemed to me of just like, why double down on one of the like worst things in the genre? You know, that's how it always felt to me. I was just like, this like scenario is really annoying. Like it's probably the worst thing. It's an inevitable outcome of the design. But the cycle's just like, let's just double down on that bit and make it really, really freaking annoying. That's how I felt about it at the time. But like, maybe with the matchmaking thing, it made it a bit better. I don't know.
But what do you mean? What's the worst
it's like
part?
It's like a Tarkov. Like it doesn't happen that often, right? Like you get to extract and somebody just one taps you because they're like hidden in a bush. Like that happens sometimes, but it doesn't happen that often. In the cycle when I played it, it was just like every other extract, you're like fending off other people, or you like had to call it in and then just like sit there and you're like a team of 3 rolls in and you're like, well, I guess I just have to leave this one. You know, it's just like I found it was a constant thing rather than just being like this overarching level of tension that occasionally happens. It was just like, this is now a core gameplay mechanic being extract camped. I was like, and it's not even extract camped. It's just there's someone nearby and they block your extract. It's like, dude, like how has this become a core gameplay mechanic? I hate this. Like I personally really didn't like it.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, I'm completely opposite because I hate the feeling of playing 40 minutes of the raid and then I died to a guy that also was playing 40 minutes of raid, but he did nothing and just sat there and waited for me. You know what I mean? Like,
at least he wasted his time, you know.
Sure, but like my time was also wasted.
That's what prevents people from doing it though, because it takes so long. It's such a big waste of time. Whereas like in the cycle, it's actually almost like an outcome of the constant raid. Because you're in raid for 40 minutes, but that dude's only been in there for 5. He doesn't have anything. Well, that squad's just spawned in and they're just like, oh, we could just go and like extra camp this guy because we've got nothing to lose. He's got everything to lose.
Well, they're not camping though. They're
not camping. No, they're not even camping. They're just like
that's what I'm
sniping.
Like. That's why I like it because you're playing the defensive. Like you're defending your extract to get out. Whereas like in Tarkov, you have to like clear every fucking corner known to mankind. It's so annoying, dude. I hate that so much. I personally like it. I'm in the opposite camp.
That's fair. That's fine. And it's a personal thing too. I think in Tarkov, because it just happens so infrequently,
it's pretty rare.
Mind it because it's
when
like
it happens, I get so
when it happens, dude. It absolutely sucks. But because it happens infrequently, it adds that tension all the time. Like every time you're on your way to extract, you're just like, "Is this the one? Is this the one where I'm going to get M61 to the back of the neck?" You know, and but then it doesn't happen very often. So you're just like, "Ooh, I'm out." Whereas in the cycle, it was like much more active. But yeah, it's each their own, right?
Yeah, I guess that's another reason why I like it too, is because I mean, this isn't like absolutely true, but you sort of like once you call on the extract, then it's like the tension increases, like on your command, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it does for sure.
Whereas like in Tarkov, like you're going towards the extra, like you're always tense throughout the entire raid. I mean, there's you know a little bit of truth there and a little bit of not truth there, but
yeah, there's pros and cons. But anyway, it's kind of a shame to see something like that go, you know. I'm sure there's another
Yeah,
couple
I
of
just
games like this that are in the sort of 1,000, 2,000. Because I was looking at Marauders the other day. I think they have even less player count than the Cycle.
really.
And I'm just like, how do you keep a game going? You know?
Yeah, I mean,
Team shots, Marauders. I'll look
I'm
now,
kind of
but
disliking that there's not a lot of innovation in the extraction genre right now. I mean, it's a very new
yeah.
areas, like a new space, so that might be to be expected, but
Do you know how many people play Marauders right now on Steam?
I don't know. I'm curious.
270.
Oof.
It's like, there's just, yeah. I don't know, man. The game's got less people than the Cycle. Like, if you look back even at the history, like, yeah, it was a big load of hype. 3,000 was pretty good. 5K on a big hype bit. Like, now it's just 24-hour peak is like 700. Like, how do you keep a game going like that? I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of these games that are just going to disappear, you know?
Yeah. I mean, Marauders is an interesting one because it has that space combat aspect to it.
Mm.
But it's kind of it's like a divergence. You know what I mean? It's like oh yeah, we're gonna release the newest Call of Duty, but this time, guys, it's in the multiplayer. First, you have to play battleships with giant sea aircrafts. Then you could get down into the combat and fight each other. You know what I mean? It's kind of
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, this is an extraction game, but also there's a space section you got to participate in first, and that's definitely gonna like attract and detract players. I kind of like it, but the game the game for me in general is still like too early accessy. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
Marauders.
yeah, it's like the
Is it technically
looting.
released or is it still early access?
I don't know. Let's check the Steam page. Because it should tell you how do you even do that from the Steam database.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I did it earlier. Oh, here we go. Store. Oh, of course it's on my Steam library, so it's not going to tell me.
Mm.
I don't think it's released. I don't know. I haven't kept up with it, but I'd be surprised if it is released. They're still updating it. That's for damn sure. Oh, they got an update coming July 4th. How about that? Let's see roadmap.
Exciting.
Early access. Okay. This is a weird graphic. Pretty sure we're still in early access. Pretty sure.
What if these games are just going to die in early access even? I don't know. Just doesn't seem like enough people.
Yeah, well, see, this is the thing about this monetization model is like I mean, there's like the thing with the cycle is like it has to have players coming and going, specifically coming, because people can just try your game and not spend a dime on it and leave. So you got to have some type of like revenue being generated. Whereas like I could buy the Marauders, play it, and then not ever pick it up. Play it for like 2 hours and never pick it up again.
Yeah, how
But
much
it's
is it?
fine. Early access is probably like 20 or $30. I don't even remember.
Yeah, not even sure. I don't actually have it.
Seeing 30, 20, 24 sale going on right now.
Okay.
It's in my
Yeah, it
region
looks.
though.
Oh yeah, it's like £20
Yeah.
as well. So okay. So yeah, it's not like it's cheap. Yeah, it's indie game level kind of thing. Not
Yeah.
big blockbuster, but fair enough. Yeah, man. I don't know. There's actually another one that somebody mentioned to me the other day, which was called We the People. There's like so many of these things that are
I
in
think I've
process.
heard of that.
This guy there was like the first devlog that they did of it the other day on it says 13 days ago on YouTube, so I don't know when that was.
No, I
That
haven't
would have
heard
been
of
Saturday the 17th of June, I think. So it's like 2 weeks ago that they put it through. It looks basically like it looks like Tarkov Stalker the Cycle together.
Sounds
I
about
think.
right.
So they seem to have
Wait,
like
why the cycle?
because they have like open servers with people cycling in and out.
I like that.
So there's like very slow very low load times, which is kind of neat.
Developer, small indie company.
Yeah.
It sounds real sketch.
But it's very, very early stage. And it seems kind of cool. Like it's an extract shooter, hardcore, tactical, FPS, whatever.
Right. Is there gameplay?
There was a gameplay demo, but I don't think it's open anymore. I tried to play it, but I don't think you
there's
can
something to
now.
play. Okay.
Yeah,
it actually does look like. Okay, yeah, this looks like gameplay. Because I was just curious because I was watching a few trailers and I was like, wait a minute, this looks like only cinematics. Is this a scam?
no, there is a decent amount of stuff on the dev blog. They got like the ballistic system stuff and a few other things, but yeah, I mean, who really knows? I mean, they're talking about there's a lot of chatter about like the ballistic system and ballistics coefficients and different shapes of bullets and blah blah blah. And I'm like, watching through the trailer because I did watch it. It's like 28 minutes long or something, and I watched it through, and I was just kind of like, I hope you guys aren't spending all your time looking at that because, like, at the end of the day, like we know from Tarkov that yeah, you can put in some complexity there. That's cool, but at the end of the day, like, no one cares, and that's not gonna make you a game that people want to play. Like it doesn't like there's a certain amount like yeah, you want to have like bullet penetration through different types of materials. That's cool. You want to have different calibers, have like different bullet trajectories, whatever. But they were like the dude who is talking about the ballistic system. They like brought in the guy who's looking at it in particular, and he's talking about like the non-constant nature of like air density and stuff. And I'm just like, don't put that in the game. Like there's no like that's just freaking no. Like even BSG doesn't do that. What's the point? Like it doesn't do anything.
It
just makes the game more
interesting.
inconsistent unless you've got some way to measure it or whatever and like adjust for it, or the game adjusts for it automatically, or so you've got some kind of rangefinder that does it automatically. I don't know. Like it's just stupid. Like you make the game more complex. It's the Tarkov syndrome, right? Of like adding complexity that looks cool, but ends up making the game more inconsistent and just frustrating to play. It's like we have armor rolls, fragmentation, and like collateral damage on the or like bullets penetrating through limbs and hitting other limbs. Like it sounds cool, but when you add all the systems together, it just makes fights more random. And it's like sometimes you kill someone in 3 shots, and sometimes it's 6 shots or whatever. Right? It's just like that's not necessarily good. And if you want it to be like that, you could make it way simpler and have it also just be like that rather than it. I don't like. Let's put it this way: I don't need to make a 3-dimensional Unreal Engine simulation of a dice and fucking roll it. Right? I could just do a rand 1 to 6.
You don't unless you're marketing to dice aficionados, right? And that's the question is because I think that with some of these like ultra realistic gun games, it's like they might be marketing to a specific audience that really likes this stuff,
I mean, yeah, but it's like it's a small portion of the player base, Like, I don't know, man. It just like it frustrates me a little bit. Like I was quite frustrated listening to it.
You underestimate the US Giga K-Koda clap. We love our guns, brother.
There's a limit. Oh. There's a limit as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, other than that, I was like, this looks kind of cool. There's zombies in it. So it's like go out and kill like certain numbers of zombies and things, I think. Yeah, so it's a zombie survival game. That's like
that's where the Daisy part comes in.
So it's kind of like, yeah, it's like the Daisy setting, a Tarkov like game with the cycle server mechanics. It seems to be.
Sorry, I'm gonna be asking questions now. Do you like build a base, or do you like have a menu you escape to?
There's a hideout. There is no actual menu. So that was one of the things that they were talking about. There's no in-game menu at all.
Is the hideout like a separate
the hideout
instance?
It's in like a safe zone kind of area, and the traders are there. So you speak to everybody like face to face. Like there's no like main menu gameplay, which is like basically a straight dig at EFT. There's actually something really funny. Like I don't know whether you've got the video up to hand. I don't know if you're looking through that or anything.
Maybe.
But
which one? The first one?
There's the We Are the People devlog. Because I'm looking at it on YouTube and I'm just like flicking back and forth. But like anybody who's looking at it anyway, it's called Introduction. We Are the People devlog number 1, by We Are the People, and at timestamp 13 minutes and 17 seconds, there's a screenshot. It's like a bit of them using the inventory system, and it's actually pretty funny. It's got like the heartbeat thing with like 440 HP, all of the limbs from EFT, and they're all identical to the EFT health pools. They've got the
What
radiation
timestamp?
symbol. It's like 13 minutes and 18 seconds.
Oh, 13.
It's
Okay.
like the same bar. It's got the
Yeah.
same temperature thing that's not in use. It's got the same
Right.
radiation
Oh my
thing that's not in
God,
use.
this
Tarkov.
is-
It's a clone
Ugh.
of the Tarkov like menu system, which
I
I was
don't
like,
know, man.
that's pretty funny. I don't know. I wasn't sure I felt about that. I mean, it's probably a placeholder, but I was like, well, you know
Well.
what? They're taking their inspiration. That's fine.
Yeah, real
That's
close to the
okay.
source material. I mean,
Yeah.
but sometimes, funny enough, things like this happen. Like even PUBG is like, I'm pretty sure it's like heavily inspired elements from H1Z1. I think that's
Oh, I
true.
never played that actually.
Or maybe I'm thinking of something else. But anyways, it's not too uncommon to see this type of stuff, but it is still funny nonetheless.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Road to Vostok because of the way that they're doing it. Although, but Road to Vostok is like purely single player.
Yeah, I mean, I think this one looks a lower quality in general.
Probably, yeah. But I mean, they're also going to run into the same problem with cheating too. You know, if they are making a multiplayer, they're going to have to deal with that.
Yeah,
I'm sure they've thought about it, but I mean, they've got like on there, they've got like technical demo 1, Steam Fest or whatever, first multiplayer map under NDA, map 1, technical demo 2, closed testing, and then they're like, oh, there's an arena mode as well. You can go and just like shoot people before, you know, that's on the early access Steam release.
Sorry, I'm on the ballistics slide, and you aren't kidding,
dude. I know. Like it annoyed me a bit because I was like, you don't need to go that crazy. It's really not necessary to go that crazy. Like it's fine, it's to some extent, but just no. The dude was like ranting on about material failure at one point and stuff, and I was just like, yeah, okay,
oh my God,
maybe.
shut the frick up.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
and it's just kind of like they're like, oh yeah, you know, doing this many calculations obviously is, you know, there's a lot of stuff to solve, so we have like a, you know, distributed like thread pool to like do all the ballistics calculations. And I'm just like, you've made your life like really hard for no reason here. Like the detail that you've required. I don't know, man. Yeah.
there's another game too I saw. Do you know how I saw it? Was from BSG's tweet. Someone was advertising their game.
What?
What?
What did you say?
I saw it via BSG's tweet. They one of their tweets, I can't remember what it was, but you know, maybe it was like, I think it was in the apology tweet. Or not the apology tweet, when they were laying out their ground rules. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. It would be in my wish list, because I just added it. You know, I want to keep in touch with all these. Wait, they added. It's not here. Wait, was it We the People actually? No way. Now I gotta pull up. Anyways, let me talk about a different game. Have you heard of Arc Raiders?
I've heard the name. I don't know anything about it.
Well, it's made by the same people that are making the finals. What studio is that? Embark, because they're the old Bad Company 2 devs or something like this. Anyways, but it's another extraction shooter, PvEVP, third person, which I'm not a big fan of third persons.
No.
But it's in space, Giga. Different planets.
Oh, great.
Planetary exploration, looting, you know.
Well, that game's dead.
Is it though?
Apparently everyone hates space. I don't know.
Well, this is dude, I stick to my guns, man. Like this people love, what's that one game that Todd Howard is making? The space game that everyone's freaking out about. The Fallout Bethesda.
Starfield, is it?
Starfield, yeah. People love that. It's in space.
That's different. It's not an extraction shooter. The extraction shooter
Exactly.
community. I feel like the Venn
Extraction
diagram of like
shooter
extraction
is
shooters
tied
in
to
space.
Tarkov. Is tied to guns. Okay, I'm telling you, man. They like get these heckin' space guns out of here. Where's my good old American M16 AR 45 caliber pistol bracelet? Whatever.
Uh,
The frick. I mean, right now the extraction audience is probably primarily the Tarkov audience, right? So
yeah,
everyone's gonna hold that to like its scandal or comparison.
Yeah.
That's why I'm really stoked for Bungie's game. However,
the marathon.
yeah. However, I saw this video where they. Oh man, I can't remember. I tweeted about it. Let me see if I can find the details because it's not like the death of Bungie, but it was like just their shitty business practices on Destiny, like how they've like kind of like abandoned it, quote unquote. But it has me worried about the marathon because dude, like in Destiny their like monetization system is crazy. Like you got to buy the game and then like if you want to do all these like other activities you gotta buy like these DLCs and like you in total it's like $400-$500 or something to get like everything in the game. You know what I mean? It's like it'd be like if BSG sold like maps or something, you know, or like these new contests. But they have like this. It looks like a hot mess, and has me a little bit worried about how they're gonna monetize. Destiny 2 has become a microtransaction hell. That's what it was called by pull up the guy who made it.
Interesting.
Aztec Cross. Aztec Cross. I'm butchering the name, but yeah, it was pretty bad. The whole like, it's very like gotcha games where it's like, oh yeah, you need this currency, but then you also need to find this rare thing, but you can like roll for it with this other currency, and to get that, you have to like upgrade this, which you can do with the currency that you also need. And then once you do that, then you can finally have a chance to get the legendary drop off the roll. So it's just like, I don't know. Because I played a little bit of Destiny, but I didn't really give it a fair shot. I think it was Destiny 2. I can't remember, but it just really wasn't my type of game. I could tell from the get go. But I don't know. I'm really hopeful that Marathon will be something cool, but I'm also now very worried after seeing that. So I really like the art style of the game, and kind of a fan of the whole sci-fi stuff, cyberpunky stuff. But
yeah, we'll have to see. If it's more cyberpunky, maybe it'll work. We'll see. We'll just have to see.
The interesting thing. Sorry, I was gonna say Lupo apparently I can't remember where, but he was like kind of commenting back when the marathon stuff first broke. He was like, wow guys, no one expected this. Bungie to make a sci-fi extraction shooter like Tarkov. Who would have ever expected this? Like he was saying it very ironic. And I infer that Lupo, because I think he's like kind of a Destiny 2 player, was at some point, and has worked with Bungie and things like this. I think he's, hinted at them like, hey, you guys should do extraction shooters. So that might be something to weigh in on.
Yeah. We'll have to see. There's a bunch of stuff. I'm still looking forward to some more Road to Vostok stuff. I should actually go play it a little bit more, like where they're up to in the tests and things, because like as a single player thing, it'd be kind of cool. But yeah, like a not extraction shooter, but I have been playing some BattleBit this last week. It is good. I did play one session on stream, and it was fun. We were playing like the big maps, but I have a friend who was very much into Battlefield games, or was in the past anyway. He was very, very good at Battlefield 2 back in the day. And we all used to play like Bad Company together, which was my favorite one, Bad Company 2. And so we've been playing like the last couple of nights, and it's really good. Honestly, it's good. Like it's really fun. You just get over it with the graphics like pretty quick once you're playing, because you're just immersed in the gameplay, and it's just like they've lifted BF2 in many ways, and a bunch of stuff from Bad Company and a few things from Squad, and they've just combined it all together and just gone like, yeah, to hell with the graphics, and we'll just make the gameplay amazing. And like the game seems to work pretty flawlessly. Like even the 127 versus 127 players, like the game runs at like max frames at all times. It's just there's no glitches, nothing goes wrong. Like it's fantastic, and there's settings for everything. You know, all the different scope sliders and stuff for different sensitivities or whatever,
Oh
like you had
my
back in
god, what
PUBG.
a
And
revolutionary idea in the year 2023. Holy shit.
I know, and you get mad points for being a medic. So there's people who are incentivized to, and for like doing capture objectives. So people are incentivized to actually like play the game.
Yeah.
As opposed to just shoot at each other.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, people are rezzing each other, but like the VoIP is really funny because no one takes it that serious. Because I did actually hear Jesse talking about this a little bit on, I think on the podcast, where he was talking about, you know, he's played Squad before, and there's people just like sweaty people shouting at each other, like kind of milsimming and sort of cosplaying.
Soldier, how dare you challenge my authority? Yeah.
Which I had that experience a bit as well when I played a little bit. It's just like people just shouting at you for doing the wrong stuff. Whereas like BattleBit, it's just craziness, and everyone's just there to just vibe, really, and it's just hilarious. And you don't need like, I think maybe just the way that it works and the maps are small enough and whatever. It's like kind of obvious where you need to go, and people sort of work together and team up, but just like in little bits. But there's just some like, it just feels cool to unlock the stuff like this. Yeah, there's a modding system for each gun. So you unlock the guns. There's basically two things in the game that you progress through. You've got the level that you are, which you just slowly go up. And as you go up levels, you unlock new weapons. And when you use the weapons, based on the number of kills that you get, you then unlock new attachments. So you can fully mod out a weapon. Like most of the time, they just come with irons to start with. And then as you get more kills, you can get like different scopes. You've got tacticals on it, like flashlights, lasers, that kind of stuff. And a lot of it's like Tarkov light modding. So, you know, the one that I'm running at the moment, because I'm only level 30, so I'm like mid-30s, so I don't have access to like tons of guns. But I've moved up to the AK-15, which is basically like the AKM equivalent, like slower fire rate but does more damage. And I'm currently running some version of like the hammer with a delta point on the top with like a laser on the side and an extended mag, and then you got like suppressors and things, and like different foregrips change your reload speed and stuff. There's lots of different things that it affects. So like I'm running the one now that actually gives you slightly quicker reload, because I didn't realize until I looked through, and it was like 3-second reload, but you can shave off like 0.3 if you use the angled like RK1, because a lot of the attachments are just like from Tarkov as well. So it's like, it's kind of like, it's hilarious. Like SE5 is there, like CQR grip, like RK1, still real stuff
from reality, actually.
From reality, yeah. But yeah, you can like do what you want with the guns, and there's like different metrics based, and you have like, you can change. I think most of the time for the loadouts themselves, there is a bit of like armor and helmet stuff, but mostly it's like you have like the max protection. In most cases, it's like you have the max protection by default, but you can actually like take the helmet off, so you die more easily, but you move a bit faster. Those are kind of some of the options that you have. Like I haven't played around too much with that, but
that's pretty cool.
But that's pretty fun. And one thing that's hilarious is because Tarkov, I guess there's a lot less people playing than normal right now because it's end of wipe, and it's like been a funny wipe, and we're expecting stuff, and there's not that many events. I keep bumping into people. Like I've never been recognized this many times as on BattleBit. And because it's like active VoIP and people are using VoIP all the time, because you need to like shout out for medics and stuff, people are just like, oh, hey, GigaBeef, is that the real you? And I'm just like, yeah, it is. They're just like, what do you think of the game? I'm like, yeah, it's good. It's like, I love your videos, man. Right, see you later. And they just like run off into the distance. Like, it's happened about like 4 times so far, which is like really funny because it tells you who's rezzing you. And I play medic a lot. So I'm like, rezzing people.
Are you like advertising yourself? Like, do you have your name as GigaBeef in the game?
Yeah, I'm just GigaBeef in the game. Yeah. So people are just like, oh, hey. And I'm just like, oh, hi, how's it going? Yeah. Or like they're being rezzed by me and they're just like, oh, hello. Which is actually really funny. So that's happened like a couple of times. It's entertaining. And then people are just like messing around. There was like, when you die, you can still VoIP locally when you're dead. Because you can give up and then respawn. But you can like VoIP locally while you're dead on the floor. And this one guy was just like barking on the ground. Like we killed him, and then all of our team was over there. So there's no way he was getting resurrected. And he was just like barking on the ground. So I started dragging him, because you can drag enemies to stop them being rezzed. So I started dragging him, and I was like throwing my mouse from side to side, and I was like like another dog, like, and he was like, "No, get him off! He's crazy!" It was just jokes. Honestly, it was just funny. I'm having a blast with it. Actually, it's good fun.
Yeah, it sounds like good fun.
I think I probably prefer 32 versus 32 than the huge maps. It's a bit more tactical. There's like a bit more space. Like the massive maps, it's just like A huge meat
Here,
grinder. It's like
yeah.
2 waves of assault infantry just dying constantly in waves, and then 2 huge banks of snipers behind just picking people off. And it's very difficult to kind of do anything. Whereas on like the 32 versus 32 maps, even though the maps are smaller, there's like generally I find there's more holes or pockets where that are just empty on the map, so you can kind of like scuttle through and be a bit more sneaky and play a bit more Tarkov like in that way, and like use your Tarkov skills a bit more rather than just it's like some situations you get yourself into where it's like you run in, you kill one guy, you reload, and someone else runs in and kills you, and then they reload, and then your teammate runs in and kills them, and then they reload, and someone else runs in and kills them, and it's just like everyone's just on a 1-1-1 ratio, like permanently, because it's just you don't have enough bullets to kill more than like 2 people basically within one magazine, and as soon as you reload, you die because the reload time is really long. But it's good, yeah, it's good. And they're like actively updating it. They're changing some of the shaders at the moment because like the game's very basic, right? You've seen how basic the gameplay is. They're actually changing some of the shaders so that when you're looking, like right now, there's really like no depth of shadow or anything. So you're looking down a stairwell, and all of the surface, like any surface, is just like the color that surface is, and that's it. And it's actually slightly confusing because you actually miss a lot of information
Yeah, I could totally
about
see
like
that.
the directionality of stuff, and they're putting in some like graduate. I mean, this is hilarious, isn't it? They're like major update. We're putting in like graduated shading on the, you know, on
That's
the
a good idea,
polygons
though.
or whatever, because then it makes it at a glance slightly easier to see like where like a piece of terrain is. Like you could be stood
where the building
straight
starts
onto
and ends.
yeah, you could be stood straight onto a staircase and like mistake it for like a piece of walling with just lines up it, right? Because it's like it's unless you as soon as you turn, it's then obvious, but like sometimes at a glance stuff's like slightly confusing because there's just like no info. So they're changing that a bit to give things a bit more depth so you just intuitively understand them a bit more of it. It's like it's fun. I'm enjoying it. It's good. The gameplay feels pretty cool. Like there's only one thing that I don't like so far about it, which is that the game seems to be designed. This is a pretty niche and specific problem. The game seems to be designed around hold ADS, which is not my preference. When you've got ADS on toggle and you're in ADS, it's basically like locked in. It's like uncancelable. And I find that really problematic, or at least I did. I've got used to it a bit now, but I find it really annoying because in Tarkov, your ADS, like if you sprint, it on ADSs. If you med, it on ADSs, right? It's like in this, because I was saying like, what's going on, guys? Like, this is crazy. I was like pressing reload and like nothing was happening. I was just like stuck. And then I had to on ADS and then reload, or on ADS and then pull the med out. Like if I'm in ADS, I'm just like trapped in ADS until I manually on ADS, which I wish that they would bring in some cancel, or at least an option, you know, lock ADS or not lock ADS, because I hate being trapped in there. I want to cancel it with another key. Like I don't want to have to on ADS and then run. It's just annoying.
I wonder if you have the hold option, if it's still the same.
The hold is way better. Like it's not the same because as soon as you let go, you could just do the other thing.
Right.
Because you're like you're letting go like manually anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't feel the same. It feels more intuitive. But then I find myself like, because I've played toggle ADS for all of eternity, I've never played hold ADS ever. So I changed it, and then I was just like, well, now I'm screwing up because I'm not used to hold ADS. Like, and yeah, I could get used to it, but like, and then there's a couple of other keybinds that would be nice to have more complicated than they are right now. It's like if you have 2 scopes, for example, so you've got like a 4x and a red dot on top. The way there's a keybind for changing the there's a keybind for changing like which reticle you're looking through,
right?
Like in EFT, but it can't be like a multi-combo button. It has to just be one. So mine's on mouse wheel, but if I've just got my gun out and I use mouse wheel, it changes you to your other, like to something else, like a med kit. Your ADS and you do mouse wheel, it changes the scope. So that's kind of annoying because in Tarkov it's like always the same. And I try to keep my keys as close to Tarkov as I can. Or like not even just close to Tarkov, I just try to keep all my keys the same across as many games as I can. But I can't use my change reticle key in this game because it won't change the reticle if you're not ADS. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's just different. The mechanic is different. So
right, because then, well, in this game, you had the only way to change your reticle is when you're ADS. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So and even then, you can't have like I can't remember what I used. I think I used Control right click or something in Tarkov. I can't remember. So something so muscle memory, but it's a compound key. But you can't set a compound key bind.
Right.
So it also just has to be something different to what I have in EFT, which is like I wish that there was a bit more flexibility in the control scheme. But otherwise, I mean, outside of that, like they're pretty niggling gripes, to be honest with you. Like I've got used to the whole ADS thing now. someone mentioned in chat, like 99% sure I can reload whilst ADS, and that it does seem to be the case sometimes. I don't know whether you have to level the gun up a bit to do it, or whether there's something else to it. I'm not really sure, because it has seemed to be working recently. So maybe it's just vanilla guns, or maybe they changed it. I don't know. I'll have to test. But that was definitely a thing for a while, like getting stuck in ADS and not being able to pull meds out and stuff. But otherwise, the game's great. I'm honestly enjoying it a lot. Like, it's good fun. There's vehicles and stuff, and the sniping's good. Everything feels clean and whatever. Like, there's a nice element to the simplicity in many ways, just because you can focus on the gameplay too. You're not like faffing about too much with like other stuff. You're just like, the zeroing system is great. The guns are like nice and accurate. Feels very satisfying to get a headshot with the sniper. Like, it's pretty cool. There's a place for bolties versus DMRs and things, because they one shot people in the head versus DMRs that probably don't if you've got a helmet on. You can still hit people in the face, I think, but it's good. It's well balanced, I think, as far as I've seen too, between the different types of guns.
What's the destruction like? I've seen a little bit of it, but like, is everything fully destructible? Is it certain stuff? How much?
Yeah, it's certain stuff. It's not everything, but it's most walls are destructible. Usually, there's usually a building will have some kind of like superstructure, some like the equivalent of sort of steel girders or whatever, like framing it, and then all the walls will be destructible. Not you can tell usually
You can't
because
like
it's like
bring down the building.
you can if you blow enough of it up.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you can, and the whole building goes and just like sinks into the floor, which is kind of cool. But I think it's only certain ones that you can do that to.
Okay.
The rest of them, if there's like usually it's a brick type texture, and you could blow that up with C4 rockets, whatever, which is kind of cool. And there's also a sledgehammer and a pickaxe. And what you could do with this, so the sledgehammer like breaks like open big sections of the wall without using an explosive. But the pickaxe just breaks off like a couple of blocks at a time. So what you can do is you can be inside one of these things and break a few blocks and then like snipe out of a little hole that you've made.
That's pretty cool.
Which is actually really neat. So the destructibility is really fun. I've been enjoying it. It's quite dynamic, and you can like breach into so there's a whole bunch of enemy guys up on the top floor of a building, and there's only one way in. You can like breach into the back using a C4 and then like take them by surprise and stuff. Like, it's really neat. I like it a lot.
I've been seeing a meta arise that's been plaguing that community, where people take drones and then throw C4s on to stick onto the drones and then fly the drones in and then blow up the C4. I also saw someone on top of a drone being flown by the drone, so they can fit one player on there. It's pretty funny stuff.
Yeah, you must be able to. Yeah, I mean, you can hear them coming in, so
sure,
it's kind of like the skill of the pilot as well. I tried it once just to see kind of how it worked, because they're really noisy. They're like as they're coming in. I tried to put like 5 bits of C4 on, and then because it was so heavy, it wouldn't fly anymore.
Really.
It
was that's cool.
Apparently, yeah, it was like it would
cool.
hardly move. I didn't test it with one, so maybe my drone just sucked. I'm not sure, but I tried it with all 5, and it didn't really seem to do what other people were doing with it. Maybe it's just that cumbersome, but I'd not used it, so I wasn't certain about it. So I tried it once, but you have to be in you're in drone mode, and then you have to like aim it to the people, and as it's flying in, you have to like come out of the drone, switch to the C4, and then blow it up. So you don't even get to see when it's landing unless you pair up. I guess if you paired up and you put C4 on someone else's drone, then they could be like 3, 2, 1, go, and then you could do it that way. But I was doing it by myself. But yeah, it is quite annoying, especially when you're holding a particular point, and then you could just hear this drone. Like, we were on this one with a ship that's kind of like a really big container ship that's like beached, and we were like up on top of the container bit somewhere, like slowly pushing through, and you just hear this coming in, but it's like lower than the container level, so you can't see it, and then it just goes, just like hops up on top and just kills like 8 people simultaneously.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But you can res people super easily as a medic, so there's lots of resing that happens. So if you can somehow like run away, because I ran away, I was just like, oh my god! So just I just ran back and then ran back in and was just like resing tons and tons and tons of people. And it feels dynamic. It feels good. I'm enjoying it. It's good fun. Cool.
That reminds me of Battlefield 2 back in the day. We used to take, there was like a covert ops class or something, and you would have like C4. What we do is we'd take the jets and throw the C4 on the jet and then fly in. You would do your normal combat, but like when you were going down or you wanted to bomb something, you would just kamikaze, jump out, parachute, detonate the C4. That was good times.
Yeah, there were some crazy things from the old Battlefield days for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there are any jets in this. I've only seen helicopters.
You know,
I was
I don't
quite
know.
sad because on stream I managed to, the RPG is just like dumbfire straight line, and I managed to hit a heli with the RPG in the air, and it was just like whatever, and just flew off. And I was like, oh come on, man, like that's a hard shot to hit, you know. I don't feel very rewarded by that, but
Probably
yeah, I
takes
don't know.
two, I would imagine.
Maybe something like that. I'm not sure, but you can shoot the people out of vehicles and stuff, so
Yeah.
kind of cool. Because I played the majority of like 32 player. There's far fewer vehicles on those game modes, so I've not
Okay, yeah, that
seen
makes sense.
as much of that, which I kind of prefer. I prefer the sort of the Bad Company 2 level of vehicles. It's like there's maybe like one or two like IFVs on either side, and maybe one chopper, that kind of thing. And they're quite glass cannony, so they're relatively easy to take down, but they're quite powerful if used in cover and stuff. That's kind of how I prefer it. Like I'm not really a big like I'm running around and then the MBT turns up and just one shots you with the cannon. I'm like, I'm not as fussed about that kind of gameplay personally. It's just personal preference. But you can get both depending on what you want. You can play engineer and stuff. There's RPG rockets and heat rounds versus frag rounds and anti-vehicle mines and all sorts of stuff. I haven't tried the repair tool. The repair tool is actually a legacy favorite of mine because back in Bad Company 2, you used to be able to use the repair tool on enemy vehicles and also on enemies themselves. And I had like a whole series of stuff. This was before I did any content stuff. This is ages and ages ago.
What
But I
would
actually
you?
might still have recordings of like running around with the repair tool and repair tooling people in the head from point blank. Like I ended up getting quite good at like sneaking up on people, and you could just like dismantle vehicles from point blank. So just like run in, and like two of us would like run in with the repair tool, just like freaking dismantle a Humvee while the people are still inside, just like blow it
Oh,
up. And
that's
like, it
cool.
was so funny in Bad Company. It was absolutely hilarious. Yeah, and you used to be able to kill people by headshotting them with the repair tool. Like it would just drain their HP. Their HP would just go like this, and you do more on the head, and it'd make this like horrible like a drill against bare metal kind of sound when you drilled. And so people would be like
Ugh.
sniping or whatever, and then it's suddenly just like on the side of their head and they die to the repair tool. It was like the ultimate griefing thing. It was so funny. I had such good times with it. So it's in this game, and I need to test whether you can actually use it or not. And I know you can use the hammer to smash walls. You can use that to kill people because it's got a kill counter on it.
Yeah.
Same with the pickaxe. So I need to have a go with that. But I just don't think you'd ever get a chance on the huge maps. You need to be able to sneak up on people. You can't be in just the great war of attrition that happens on these 250 4-player ones. It's just too much. Yeah, it's good though.
Yeah, I might end up giving it a try here over the weekend. My buddy's coming back in town. He was pretty hyped to play it, so I might join
And it's
him.
cheap.
Yeah, especially
Always helps.
especially too while it's like popular.
Yeah, I mean, talking about Steam charts or whatever, I wonder what that's looking like now because that was actually just going up and up and up at one point. Maybe it's leveling out. Yeah. So what was this? Is this the peak or the all-time peak of 86,000? It started to come off a bit, like 80
yeah,
71, 64.
but it's still very healthy.
It's still very, very healthy. I mean, it's only the first couple of it's only the first month. It's been out since the 15th of June. So yeah, 2 weeks. So I mean, it's too early to say.
What would be interesting is if, because you say a lot of people from Tarkov are playing it. I wonder how much. But if like Tarkov updates, or some other game comes out, how many people depart or whatnot? It's kind of interesting. But
yeah, I'm just not sure if there's anything else out there like this that really, there's Squad, but like people are like people don't really like the way Battlefield's gone. People are not really looking at I've only seen bad things about the Squad update. Some people are saying, oh yeah, no, maybe it's actually going to be good, but I know the community loves, as always, communities are just like, so there's probably a lot of people who are not playing that. I don't really know about Hell Let Loose. I'm not sure about their community. I don't follow that game particularly, but I didn't enjoy Hell Let Loose that much. I think a lot of people from those games have come over to BattleBit, and it's kind of everything that people wanted out of Battlefield. So I think they might retain players because the gameplay is really good, really fun. It feels good to level up the stuff, level up the guns, level up the attachments, try different things. Each game's different. It's not as enforced team oriented as Squad and those kind of games are. where it's like fine if everything's going to plan, or if you're part of a competitive group of of people playing against others. But like hub gaming on the squad is a bit hit and miss. If you get bad commanders and things, it's just the whole game's ruined, even if you do okay.
I see.
Or like
I
you
see.
can't really follow. Like it's required really. The structure is required to have some leadership, and sometimes you just either get bad leadership or just people don't want to do it.
BattleBit doesn't have
Can't
that.
be bothered. Not really. You have like squad leaders, but there's not really an overall command, so people can. I don't think so anyway. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but there's just the maps are kind of smaller. It's like it's faster paced, so it matters less. Like you can kind of decide much more readily like where you're going to go. Like you can, there are like squad leader orders to go and do certain things, and you get more
Right.
points if you do that to hold certain points or whatever. But like most of the time, it's just like player self directed, and it feels a bit more free in that way. You don't really have like, I don't think you have like command chat like one way like you do in those other games, because it's much less like mil simmy and just more kind of like battle. Yeah, it's more like Battlefield. It's in that way, because Battlefield was never like that. It was more, you're part of a huge team. You can kind of choose what you do. It's more like that, I feel. Yeah, it's fun. We'll have to see how it goes. They're doing well so far, these guys. I do think the cheapness of it helps.
Yeah.
Like Steam has proven multiple times, like whatever they do. I remember years ago looking at the Steam sale information about like the research that Valve had done into game sales and stuff, and about how they gave like various different companies a choice on like how much to discount their games, whether they discounted by 50%, 75%, like 90%. And the research that they came through with for a lot of these kind of like indie games was, if you give a 50% discount, like, you might make 3 times the sales. So like it makes up for it. If you give a 75% discount, you might make, 10 times the sales. So that's actually better, even though you're making it cost less, like even way more people actually go and buy it. And then if you go like 90% discount, it's like crazy. Like loads of people buy it, just like speculatively. They probably never even play it. But you make like 50x the sales or something, 100x the sales, because people are paying for this thing because it's so cheap. So you end up actually making loads of money and loads of people have your game. So it depends on what strategy you want to have, but it's interesting. Like pricing something so cheaply, like £12, it's a fifth of what Diablo costs for the base game, for example.
Yeah, it's really cheap, man.
And it's one of those things. It's like you can buy it, you can play it for 10 hours, and feel like you got your money's worth.
Yeah, for sure.
It doesn't need to last forever.
Yeah.
Like I mean, how much have I played already? That's the thing. Like you play for 12 hours, it's £1 an hour.
I mean, honestly, like 2-3 hours, it's like you effectively bought a movie ticket.
Yeah,
went
exactly.
and watched a movie.
Yeah, so I've played 13 hours of BattleBit so far. Like I've been playing like a couple of hours each night, and so I'm
really
already under £1 an hour, which is like, for me, that's fine. Like now, if the game suddenly crashes and dies, whatever, I will have had fun and I'll have no regrets.
Yeah.
Like it's just not every game needs to be played for 40,000 hours,
Yeah, I wonder how much of that plays into its success, because it's like, because the cost is so low, your like mental risk investment is pretty low as well. Like, it's $15, whatever. And then people are like, oh, this is actually fun. And then people see that other people are saying it's actually fun. So it's like, oh, it's also cheap. Might as well try it. What do I get? Where it's like, yeah, it's a $60, $70, $80 game. Guys, trust me, it's really fun. It's a fun game. I'm having fun. But it's like, it's like, sometimes it's really hard. I have like those friends that's like, it's kind of hard to recommend games to them. It's like, yeah, it's fun, you should play it. Like, okay, I don't know if it does for me. I'm like, I mean, I like it. I think you like it, but And then like, a year goes by and I see they're playing the game now. It's like, I told you it was going to be fun. Damn it. You just had to give it a try.
Yeah. I'm kind of there about Diablo, honestly, because I'm just like, have I got my money worth out of Diablo? Like, I feel like no at the moment. Like it's okay. It's all right. I'm gonna play more in the future.
Just play more, Giga.
I haven't got there yet to like make a like I haven't finished the campaign, so like I'm not really there to make an informed decision and be like, I don't like the game. I also did something slightly unusual, and I played a class I don't usually play. I'm like playing Rogue, so it's like a bit of a different style of gameplay than I usually play in this type of game. And I usually avoid them because I'm not as keen on that type of style, and I'm not enjoying it as much. And I don't know whether I screwed myself on purpose just to be I should try something different this time. Right. And I'm just like, now I'm sort of regretting it a little bit, but I will see. I'm going to play through the full campaign for sure. And then we'll see how it goes. Like, I have another friend who's, he got to level 50 something, and then he made another character just to try it out, and he's level 50 plus with that character too now, and he's just like, oh no, it's good. Like, I'm still playing it. He's like playing it mostly solo, and like we join up every now and then. But I'm sure I'll play it more. But like, yeah, at the moment, I'm just like, I just feel way more rewarded playing BattleBit and playing against other people. Like, I'm just finding it not very rewarding just playing against only AI. I think it's like a Tarkov thing that seeped into my brain as well. I'm like, I don't mind Tarkov because it's a combination, and the real threat is the people, and some of the AI in that is like rock solid. Whereas like right now, I'm just feeling in Diablo, it's just like every encounter is very similar. Like you meet the same mobs over and over again. I'm just like going through the process of killing them. I don't have to do anything clever. I just have to just use all my skills on the keyboard, and then they all die. And I'm like, am I doing anything clever here? Like, I'm setting my build up. That's really their idea, like trying to maximize the damage and clear them as fast as possible. But it's just like, it's not quite gripping me in the same way as BattleBit is, playing against real people and trying to strategize and like sneak in and kill 3 people with 1 magazine because they're not looking, or out sniper with an ACOG. Like, there's cool moments to make you feel good in BattleBit. And in Diablo, I'm just finding not very many cool moments happen. That's my take right now. So we'll see. I'm going to continue to update, and I'm still going to play Diablo a bit because I don't always want to play BattleBit. Sometimes it gets a bit tiring because it is quite high octane.
Are you at the point now where the only reason you're playing Diablo is so you can get the time spent to equate to equal value of the money you spent on the game? Is that where you're at?
A little bit, and also just kind of like there is an element of that.
I have to play this game so I can get a return on money.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like, and I haven't finished the campaign, and loads of people have said the campaign's really good. So I'm like, all right, I'll finish it because everyone said it's great. But
once you beat the campaign, what do you do afterwards?
Then it becomes much more open. It's kind of I'm not really sure, but you can either like make a new character, but you don't have to do the campaign again. But there's like lots of like side missions and stuff. There's like renown in each region, and you unlock different things.
Like, you can no multiplayer.
I think I don't know if there must be there's PvP somewhere. I think I don't know whether there's like an arena or something. I'm not really sure. I'm not big on. I've never been that big on Diablo PvP. Actually, I didn't ever really play any of it. So I'm not 100%. I'm sure there is, because there always was in the other ones.
Okay.
So there must be, but I think there's also must be like really hard end game stuff to go and kill that's like really really tough to beat. So you need to level up your gear and like go and find, go and kill this boss a bunch of times to get this drop, to get this thing, to get this legendary with this particular thing that levels up the build that you're doing. Yada yada yada. That's I think it must be, like that's what I've seen people talking about, trying to get specific drops to level up their character to then be able to defeat some of these like high tier dungeons after the main campaign is finished. But I think the story finishes at about level 50, I think. And people are going up to level 100, and it's the same as in EFT, right? It's like, I think by the time you're level 85, you're like halfway to 100, something along those lines. So like level 50 is like relatively early, and I'm like, level 30 something. So I'm not, I'm probably part way through. I don't know how much I've played. Maybe I've played like another, 10, 15 hours or something total. Maybe a bit more, maybe 15, 20. Yeah, there's going to be a bunch of stuff to do, but it's like, do I care to do it? I'm not sure. We'll see when I get there, whether it's compelling or not. There's a whole like Paragon point system I haven't even looked into yet, so I don't even know how that works. Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that's going to wrap up this episode of ScavTalk. Right, Jacob?
So. Yeah, I think so. We're just going to have to see what happens with the old Darky, see whether we got any events this weekend.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get some information about the wipe.
I really don't think wipe's tomorrow. But,
no.
If it is, I guess we'll find out.
Can you imagine if they just randomly wipe tomorrow? That would cause absolute chaos.
There's gotta be a podcast, I feel like.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think we probably got month, 2 months, maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think in 2 weeks we might know a bit more. By the time that the Hunt tournament finishes next,
that's true.
2 weeks Saturday on the 15th, I think then we'll know maybe a bit more. We'll be able to see whether Chronicles of Issues come out, whether the events have stepped up, whatever, and then we can kind of draw some more conclusions. But for now, we just have to wait and see what happens events-wise.
It's gonna be weird getting back in this Tarkov.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so weird. And so out of touch.
It'd be good. You can play it fresh, maybe enjoy it properly again. You know?
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we will conclude, and we will see you all next week.
Catch you later.